Like to invite good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, a bit cloudy, and with the weather, the temperature is perfect, I would say. So uh, today, other than the projects that we should do a share and tell with, in terms of learning, today is our last session, but we'll also have a session in which we'll continue to do a few more paper readings and we'll do show and tell of the projects. So I invite all of you to show up here in person. Let's have lunch together. And today evening itself, or tomorrow morning, I'll be sending you guys your certificates of completion and also a formal invoice receipt for the course so that you can submit it to your workplaces for reimbursement with that. So if I miss you for any reason, do please let me know. Those of you, I usually, before the pandemic, I used to hand out those certificates in person. Today, I should have done that. We have some of you may recall, we have some really good, I don't know if you would agree, but it looks beautiful, a printed out certificate. But I'll certainly send you guys the digital copy, and next time you want, if you want the printed out, if you're going to be here in person, do let me know so that I can have a printed out certificate ready for you next time you come here. So that is that. And once again, there's a lunch today. This breakfast is already there. Good Starbucks coffee is brewing. We have snacks, we have things, and throughout the day we'll have snacks and breakfast and tea and so forth. But we today also have lunch. And those of you who are here get to choose the items on the menu. Lunch will do around 12:30 or 1. We'll follow the same routine today morning. We'll do the labs. We'll do some interesting things. Now, this lab is interesting enough that I would strongly encourage you to go through the hassle of setup. One reason I kept this lab for the last is it is quite interesting, but it comes with a bit of headache because it needs a little bit of a setup on your part. You'll have to set up a database server. You'll have, if you don't have one on your machine, you'll have to import a schema with data. And so on and so forth. And that's about it. If you do those two things, it will work. And you'll also have to install a few libraries to get some of the things done. Today, we'll also deal with we will also do sound to text speech analysis using as an exercise in natural language processing. As you know, we all communicate far more through speech than we do through writing. But throughout this course, we have focused primarily on textual, written content. And before we end this workshop, it is worth changing the dynamics. It is worth looking into video and looking into audio. In fact, the project that I would encourage you to do would be very interesting. I would encourage you to do it as a team. So let me first start with the project. The project is this, and I obviously put the description of the project for you. Create using either Grad.io or Streamlit a conversational interface, but a spoken conversational interface. There should actually not be a place to type in any text. There should just be a microphone on your interface. And the reason I'm saying that is because that is the future. Trust me, in a couple of years, you will realize that interfaces have become a microphone, by and large. And as the user speaks, take in the input, extract the intent of what the user is searching for, and answer the user's question. Now, first, understand the question from the speech, then find the answer to that. That is part one of it. Part two of it is given whatever answer you come up with, render it as a graphic. Like convert your answer and associate. Right? I mean, you have to create a whole essay around it, like at least 1,000 words of answer. To create 1,000 words of answer, you must produce at least one image, hopefully more, for the different chapters of the top themes in your answer. And you should be able to do it dynamically on the fly. And lastly, once you have the answer, you should also give it a play button so that if play is hit, the answer is returned as speech. Right? So I want you to, as this course ends, I want you to meet the future. And this is the future, guys. Now, there is a bonus part to this project. The bonus part of the project is, can you also render the whole answer, the spoken part of it, not as just audio, but as a video? Make it into a video and do this. So this is an intense project. I would like to give the last week, I would be helping you guys quite a bit in making progress with this. Now, we will take 2 weeks to do it. But throughout these 2 weeks, every single day I will be here. Let us continue to talk. Form your teams, guys. Please do it as a team. It is too big a project for you to do alone, unless you're highly, highly motivated. But if there is one thing you can do that will bring me the most satisfaction, and I would feel that not only have you put in effort, that I also put in effort, and it was all worth it, is if you do this project. And trust me, you do this project, you will get tremendous satisfaction, and quite literally, you would have met the future. Go ahead, Albert. Yeah, I will give you a write-up of this today. At the end of lunch or in the evening, I will give you guys a write-up of this entire project, but I'll repeat what I said about the project. And yeah, Albert, thank you for taking care of the coffee. The project is as follows. You, in Streamlit or Grad.io or your favorite, you want to do it in React, do whatever you want. Do it as a team though, don't do it alone. Form your team and do it. But the team shouldn't be more than 4 people. Right? And generally one will be a bit hard for you. So form the team. Good morning, Farhan. You came just in time. We are announcing the project. So form a team. The team has to create an application whose interface is just a microphone. There should be absolutely no place to type in any text. All right? All you can do is press a microphone button, like this microphone, make a picture of this or something like this. And as the user enters the question or asks something, your task is to find an answer to it in long form answer, in a few paragraphs of text. It shouldn't be a one-line answer. So implicit to this whole thing, this project is the fact that the question would be something long. You can just assume that the user will say, for example, tell me about how the Golden Gate Bridge came to be. Right. Who were its engineers and so on and so forth. Give me the history of that. Your job is to find the answer. And to find the answer, you have to use the agents. For example, you may have Wikipedia and so forth. The question could also be, for example, right? Look into the paper. Attention is all you need. And in particular, explain what self-attention means and why does it matter, right? So now you realize that you can't exactly find it in Wikipedia. You will have to use another tool, archive. So your project actually has to be receptive to just about any question. and should be ready to use. You need to create an intelligent agent. And this is where the real fun is, guys. You do this project and you are looking at a startup. I'm serious, right? And believe it when I say, I am there every day throughout this 2 weeks to handhold you through this. So you do this and capture the intent, use the right tools, make it happen, come up with a few paragraphs of answer, but not only render that, render it with graphics, right? Think stable diffusion, right? Stable diffusion. And use that to, write, like imagine that you're writing a really polished New York Times kind of article, right? So as you create your prompt, tell your system to have a summary, to have a structure, not just to produce free-flowing text, to follow a certain journalistic style or something like that. It should have a good form. It should have data. It should have this and that. Prompted to produce things in a proper structured way with graphics. And then finally, there should be an audio. So you should be able to play the answer. All right. Text and audio. You should be able to produce an audio, a podcast of your answer. And the idea, guys, is that can we create a machine to whom we talk? And in its utter simplicity, that's the interface. You talk to it, it responds. But when it does that, it is willing to listen to anything from you, and it will respond to that. And obviously, don't worry about latency. So if it takes 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes for it to find the answer, that's perfectly fine, because we are not sitting upon too powerful machines. So respond and also try to create a video out of it. Hey.
Okay, I captured some of that on Slack.
Hey. Oh, thank you, Kate. So guys, this is an absolutely fun project. It is not as hard as you think, but it is not as easy as you think. It will take you 2 weeks to do it. There is no doubt. All right. So, but when you do it, you will get tremendous sense of satisfaction. And as I said, I will be, and all of us here, the TAs, we will be with you every step of the way. That is right. That is right. Absolutely. Just make a picture. The UI should be a picture of a microphone that you can click. And it should listen to you talking. So when you think about what all it needs, except for the stable diffusion part, which is too easy and a lot of fun, and I deliberately wanted to keep an easy part as something I didn't teach, or maybe I'll teach it today, or release at least a Jupyter notebook with that also in it. Everything that we have done in this, everything that you need to finish this exercise, to this project, we have actually covered it in this course. All right. The video generation is the only part, the text to speech and video rendering. I left it as a fun exercise for you, but trust me, it is these days easier than you think. Yes. So you have to create a whole pipeline. You have to figure out in this dynamic LangChain. So what happens is that you have to dynamically construct LangChain. So you need an agent that infers what are the things. So that agent should have access to many, many things. Showing that text, and you're embedding a few images, and as a best, and we are playing it as a voice. Can also be played as a voice, right? Is generative. is generative. Absolutely. And guys, do that. And then after that, tell me if you don't feel the urge to go do a startup immediately. Shani, what do you think? Shani is on mute at this moment. So, guys, are you excited about this project?
Definitely.
Yeah. And remember that it is not as hard as you think. It's not as easy as you think. It will keep you really busy for 2 weeks, but it may be the most satisfying 2 weeks. After a long, long time, you'll get a tremendous satisfaction from this project. And this course, like, see, if you don't do this project today, we end. But if you do this project, these 2 weeks will be highly engaged 2 weeks that we will do together. I am here all day from 10:30 in the morning typically, and usually till 10:30 at night. Every single day I'm here.
Sorry, I was on mute. Some of these things can seem simple on the surface, but then it can be difficult when you actually do this. Like we try to do the Lang flow on Tuesday, and we didn't have enough time because we only had a half hour. So I think yes, Streamlit and Gradio might have these tools, but I think as we kind of put things together, we might run into some difficulty. So I do concur with your thoughts.
Yes. That is why it will keep you really busy for 2 weeks. But guys, it is practical experience. It stitches all the different pieces that we have been learning throughout the course. It stitches it all together.
Okay, so will there be Saturday sessions on the 12th and 20th? Or is this just during the day?
No, guys. So there is a bit of news. I will be missing from this town I will leave on Friday night. So Saturday, Sunday. So Friday I'll be here, but Friday night I'll disappear. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'll be in Seattle. Over the time, I'll still be looking at the messages, but this coming Saturday, we won't have a session. My daughter has invited me to Seattle, and I'm meeting after many months, so I'll be there. But we'll schedule a time. But I'm hoping that through the days, we stay very engaged throughout the week, but like the next tomorrow, day after, all the way till Friday till I leave. And then the moment I return, like, the next week, the week after that also, we all stay fully engaged. The only time I might be a little scarce is on the Saturday, Sunday, the coming Saturday, Sunday, because my daughter wants to take me around Seattle. I've never really seen I've never done hiking in Seattle. We plan to do hiking in some mountains and see some waterfalls.
Mount Rainier, nice. So the 13th and 14th, you'll be away. Will we be meeting on the 20th? Saturday the 20th.
We will be meeting on Saturday 20th. We start the deep learning.
Okay.
Quite likely we'll meet on Sunday the 21st.
Okay.
Sunday, guys, we'll meet on Sunday. Unless you guys are willing to meet on Friday. And guys, we will all do a show and tell. And again, have a party. I'll order good food. Right? And those of you who joined late today, we are having, besides the usual breakfast and snacks, we have lunch here today. So if you're within driving distance, do please drop by. Let's all have fun. Have a picnic atmosphere at the lunchtime. See, Grad.io is more natural if you want to host it in Hugging Face spaces, which they make it available. And they're both competing products. They're both equally good. The thing is, Streamlit has had a lot of popularity. One second, let me just decrease the height of this. Yeah, it has had a lot of popularity. Recently, people have been a little bit annoyed with it because there's too much of a push to just use the corporate version or the paid version and push things to their cloud and so on and so forth. Grad.io still remains good. So I would say that the choices are equally split. And you don't have to use either of them if you so choose. And if you're good with React, go make it from scratch. Because ultimately, Streamlit, what does it do? It just emits React code under the covers. You just don't know it. Okay? Kushinda, I expect this project to also include your lovely Tamil corpus. Seriously, isn't it? Imagine the wisdom of the world coming through. It's ancient wisdom. Let's immortalize it. Right? And here is something I'll give you guys as an offer. I don't yet promise it. But it depends upon, because support vectors is just starting once again after the pandemic, and our volume stream is a little bit shaky. But I'm putting together the servers. Yeah. Thanks, talking to a very good friend, Sukhpal here, who has been making wonderful machines for all of us. And your projects, I would like to host it free. So in other words, I'm willing to, at least assuming that we can afford to, whatever the electricity bill is, but I'll give you the computing resource and the hosting free for your project. It's a public IP. This place has a gigabit fiber. It's going to be 10 gig fiber now. And the building inside is, of course, 10 gig fiber, as you know. So it will be hosted. So the project that you do will not be lost in obscurity. It will forever be hosted. And we will put in every effort to make sure that we mention it in Twitter, mention it in LinkedIn, mention it wherever it is. Do your best, guys. I would love to showcase you, because this has been a long journey. You guys have all given your Saturdays to be here. You guys have all gone through labs that have been not exactly easy. They have been a bit of a struggle. And you guys have genuinely learned a lot. In fact, I would say that if you have actually been doing the labs in material, I would put you at par with the top 10% of the NLP developers at this particular moment. So you are there. Right? You know everything other people know or more. Right? And hopefully with more discipline, more rigor, writing better code. So it's time for us to showcase it. So please do that. And trust me, the machine on which we are going to put it is not the usual machine that you can easily rent in the cloud without paying through your nose.
Hey, it'll be really helpful if we can also, if we get our project completed in time, see if there is VC interest in it.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, guys. If you do that, I am all ready to. By the way, if you're looking for angel investors, I have enough connections to attract them, to make presentations to them and to investors. So we can all, we can all
But
pool
take
our
you up on
connections.
that, Asif, for sure.
Definitely. So guys, do your best job. And here's the thing, the more effort you put, the more effort I'll put. I'm willing to work. Like, as I said, just ponder over it. I am saying that for the next 2 weeks, except for the time that I'll be on vacation, 2 days in Dhaka, I'm giving you I'm giving you 15 hours a day of my time. And not just giving you there for advice, I can help you do a problem. Let us all collectively do something really worthwhile. People make line change from little things. Oh, look, I could do this. Oh, look, I could do this. But let's make a product. See, there is a difference between doing, look, I can do this, to bridging the gap over to a serious product that actually you feel proud of personally. So Sheila, I can't see you. Could you please note to this one? Yes. So thank you. Are you able to hear me from this distance? So guys, let's do that. Please, let's do that. And I'm offering you my time and the full support of the Support Vectors team, everyone. We will be with you. Not only that, we're giving you our compute resources free and free hosting if your project is good. I mean, I'm hoping that all of your projects are good, right? And we will spread the word, we'll get it out. Also, if you feel that it has potential for investors, we will start and we will all get together, pull in our investor connections. We will invite them here to make so that you guys can make presentations in the presence of investors if you want. Does that sound like fun, guys? Okay, that is that. So obviously, I'm trying to get this place up. The other thing is today happens to be, in case you don't do your project, or even if you do it, a couple of people, I think, the tuition may still be due. I have to look at the list, but if it is due, guys, then now would be an excellent time to send it over. If you haven't sent it, then you can just you can go to the website and use that. That I lose actually I don't like that method anymore because PayPal is doing something pretty strange. They not only do they take a significant cut out of it, but they have started withholding the payment for 3 to 4 weeks. So it's a new policy they have started. They say, "Oh, we haven't heard of your business until so long as there is not enough history, we'll hold on to your payments." At this moment, so you can sell it to me. Just the phone number. Suppose Vector's phone number is 510-298-9030. Let's
Okay, Asif, when does your deep learning course start and when can folks start registering?
Oh, next Saturday. Oh, please do register. Good heavens. If you have not, I assume that the deep learning, now that we are highly motivated, Saturday, the Saturday that I come 20th, the 20th Saturday. Yeah, literally, guys, 2 weeks I'm giving you for this project. But after that, we start immediately. Right? The deep learning starts immediately. And in that deep learning, this time, if you had done deep learning with me before, this is an entirely new course. None of that. I wouldn't be spending time on RNNs and very little. I'll cover, let me just put it, everything that we did before, I may cover it in just one day and get it out of the way. Right? I've marked it. It's an entirely new course. That's why the name has changed. It is no more called Advanced Machine Learning or something like that. Or it is called, actually, the title is even slightly up. It is Deep Learning Foundational Architectures. Sort of, not only foundational models, but the foundational architectures. So we will do, and much of the time will be spent, guys, on the absolute state-of-the-art thing. Like, for example, Lamini. You know Lamini? Yes, exactly. So guys, we will be doing things that have just come out 1 week, 2 weeks ago. Right? Things like that. And we don't know what new things will come, but it will be really interesting because we'll cover absolutely the latest stuff. See, first 2-3 sessions, 2-3 days, yes, I will build a foundation. I will explain to you what backpropagation is, activation function is, universal approximator is. Those foundations are necessary. But right after that foundation, as always, but there are always 2 more sessions beyond what I advertise. It is advertised as 8 weeks, but actually it's 10 weeks. As usual, it's 10 weeks. And at the end, there is a good project. And the 10th session is actually 2 weeks later because it includes the project. Just like this, we had the 7 sessions, plus 2-week gap before the 8th session. So we'll follow the same methodology. I'm hoping that you guys will come out with a great project at the end of it. Guys, nothing like a portfolio of projects. The world has been democratized. I don't know if you guys watched this. There was a leaked document from YouTube. You saw that video yesterday, right? Okay. Those of you who haven't, some very senior research scientists did a comparison between Google and OpenAI, and basically said that, see, there's not much difference between what Google is doing, what OpenAI is doing. We are all at the same level. We can give or take a little bit. But there is a new kid on the block, which is open source, and it is moving so fast and doing so well that the problems that we thought will take us tens of millions of dollars to do as a research project, these guys are doing it literally $100. Yes, please put that video in the chat. It's really an eye-opening video. So what it does, guys, is you find this rapid curve of democratization of AI. And we thought, if you remember, the word is very interesting. When we started this course, I started with saying that I'm very concerned that there is industrial capture, that people like OpenAI, they're not willing to give up their models. They're exposing an API, they're going to make tons of money and so on and so forth. And we all seem to be hostages to that. Yet this course has gone on now for 6-7 weeks. And the world has changed. The open source has responded with resounding force, right? And literally they have flattened it. They have flattened that. And there is far more creativity happening. And creativity is not coming just from researchers in the open source. They're coming from ordinary people, little kids sitting in their bedrooms are making breakthroughs. They're solving problems that were supposed to be tens of millions of dollars worth of research projects. Right? Yeah. We will see something today of that. Actually, it begins to, the data science will still be needed. You'll see why, but you will see that data engineering is up for toast. It's totally toast. I hope that's a lesson you'll see today. So, guys, if you're a software engineer of any persuasion, whether it is SQL, whether it is Java, it is .NET, it is whatever old godforsaken language you are still programming in, right. It is all over, guys. Now we have to reinvent programming languages themselves to be very, very large language model aware.
Yeah, Asif, I posted in the channel, somebody created for themselves a tool by which they could look at the fridge and it could tell what things are there and tell you what you can cook with that.
Absolutely wonderful. I saw that. Actually, I saw that. It was amazing. The pictures of it, right? The items that were there. It was really nice.
Very practical.
Very practical. And I can't even imagine, like, this is going to be a transformational change in the way we program. Just getting started. I think people are not realizing.
People are not realizing. If you remember, at one point I said that the scale of this transformation, this evolution, is not the scale at which of discovering electricity or discovering the internet, or the invention of the internet, or the discovery of electricity, or even the industrial revolution. This is going to dwarf everything and will be on the same scale as the discovery of the wheel and the fire. Which is great. Yeah, it is. The world is changing very, very rapidly. It will make paupers a princess and princess of paupers. It will turn the world upside down. It is, guys. In fact, if you don't, you might as well start applying for unemployment. Because it is coming. Whatever job you hold, it's coming. I think I heard the news that IBM already said that they're making an inventory of jobs that AI can do, and they're not going to do any hiring on that anymore, which means that it is just a code word for saying we're getting ready for the layoffs. So it is happening. Generally, it's happening everywhere. And the world is flat. Think about this. With all of these things, you can have a guy sitting in the Gobi Desert, right? Or on a tree house in Timbuktu, and be equally productive and creative. Isn't it? So I'm actually very encouraged, because for the longest time I have been meaning to go into I'm partly Indian, partly Nepali, and I love this Himalayan mountains. And for the longest time, I've been dreaming of going on long hikes and living in remote places. Now I can, and still work for them. So who knows? My next session, the support vectors next session will be offered from the most remote places, high mountains of Himalayas. Yes. All right, guys. So with that thing aside, I hope, guys, if there's one message I would say, please take this project seriously, guys. And when I mean it, that we are a valuable resource. We will back. We're not just saying go do your project and come back with it. I'm saying we are your Sherpas. We'll carry you through the project. After all, I have Sherpa blood in me. So that's that, guys. So with that, with those things, let us get started. Yeah, hi there. So let's get started now with today's material. So today we are going to do a couple of paper readings as usual in the afternoon. In the morning, we are going to go through a couple of labs. And today, what I want to do is so that I don't eat into the ideas of the project. What I have done is I had implemented that and help you build towards a project. But then I deliberately redacted those labs. I took those labs out because I felt that it's much better. Those were straightforward. You guys are mature enough to rediscover that territory on your own. I don't need to teach it. And it will be much more fun if you rediscover it on your own rather than just blindly stitch the notebooks together. Does that make sense, guys? Let's leave some things for you to pick up and discover on your own.
Asif sir,
Yes.
the somebody's mic is open or something. I think there is a disturb, like a noise is coming in. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
if
keep hearing that music thump a thump.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, that's me. Oh, was that some sort of a no? That is now, has it disappeared?
Yes.
yes, it's gone now.
Yeah, blame it on me because I have this fancy Rode podcaster. So apparently, when you're not speaking, you're supposed to press it. Let me see if you hear it now.
Yes, that's it. Dun, dun, dun. It sounds like it's trying to be music.
Yes. So
Okay.
I just disabled it. My apologies. I didn't realize that I accidentally pressed that button on. I'm making my own teething issues with this very fancy podcasting digital signal processor for my voice. Is my voice coming out clear though?
Yeah.
Very, very clear.
Yes,
Oh, it is. Then that is all thanks to Sukhpal Rapal, who has set up this entire audio system for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And again, see, guys, this place has run on an ocean of goodwill and volunteerism. And there are so many people I feel thankful for. I feel thankful for them getting the word out about support vectors. I'm thankful for them coming here in the first place. I'm thankful for all the help they on their own provide. Today, Kate, for example, she has been literally a support vector, the support vector, volunteering and helping us through all of these courses. And Sukhpal has completely voluntarily come and helped us set up all this machine. He has helped build the servers. He has helped build the, done the machines at no cost, given us a lot of help. And once again, it's time to say thanks. I don't often get time to say thanks, guys. But I must say, and some of you have written blog articles about this place and so forth. All of this matters, guys. This place, as you can imagine, runs on that. We are not an investor-funded place. It literally runs on goodwill at this moment. All right. So with that, now I would like to, is my screen shared by any chance?
Yeah,
it is. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So today I'll give you a sense of what we are going to do. We are going to, we are going to, the morning half, we are going to do a couple of very interesting labs, which will be useful to you. Because in the project specification, you will see that if the question has to do, some of the questions that can be asked by user will be medical in nature, in which case you have to dip into the medical database. Some of the questions will talk about computing things from the database. Like, for example, suppose you have structured data in the database. You're supposed to find, you will be asked to find answers to question, how much did this location, did my branch at this location earn this year? What was the total sales at this location in this year? And you will have to, or you can ask questions like, which location earned the greatest revenue this year? Or which are the top 3 locations? As you know, if you're familiar with SQL, those are SQL queries. But everything has to be a voice interface. And from the voice and the text, your project has to be able to infer it.
Yeah, Asif, can you please share this labs?
Share the
Share the labs.
Labs, of course. Oh my goodness, I did not share it. Okay, guys, how about I do it in the, let me do it in the, this thing, in the break. Let's take a little break in 5-10 minutes, and then we'll do that. Huh? So I should have started the class with sharing the labs. My apologies. So see, let's start. When you query a database, now there are many ways to query a database. If it is a, for example, a relational database, you go at it with SQL. Or even if it is not a relational database, SQL has been sort of the de facto lingua franca, so that you can query big data with it, right? BigQuery with it, many systems with SQL, right? Hive SQL, this SQL, that SQL, and so forth. There are variants of SQL that has extended the applicability of SQL as a querying language, data querying language, way beyond the realms of just relational database. Right? SQL, the pioneers of SQL, people like Stonebreaker, right, have had a pretty strong point to make actually in the 70s, I believe, in the 70s or early 80s, that a completely expressive language like SQL is what is suited for data manipulation and data retrieval. It has stood the test of time. But SQL is not the only thing. You have had ways to query XML. There is, for example, XQuery, right? Now, they are specialized querying language for JSON. Like, for example, MongoDB has some syntax for that. Right? There is Sparkle and all of that. XSLT and all that. XSLT, yeah, is for styling and transforming the results. Yes, excellent. So all of those things have been there, but there is a new kid on the block that's very powerful. To the human beings, the most natural thing is, of course, natural language processing, natural language. Can I express what I'm looking for in a database using natural language? Let the large language models be smart enough to translate what I have into queries. Ultimately, that's what a DBA does, database administrator does. You say, I want this information, and the guy says, no problem, let me go sit, and there you go. Crafts a nice query, executes the query, and out comes the result. So, well, now that the smart guys are being replaced by the smarter guys, these large language models, let's see if they can do the same task of translating natural language processing into the appropriate query and retrieving the answers from the database. Right?
Because of the LLM, it's probabilistic. Will it be able to be certain that it can repeat the same?
Repeatable results. That's a very good question, actually. So Patrick here has asked this question. The LLMs are probabilistic. Obviously, you remember that. And we tried to sort of tame it down by using the softmax temperature values closer to 0 and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, they have a failure rate. Sometimes a perfectly easy task, they will bomb. Sometimes they will do it right. And it is a problem. That is the crux of the nuisance with large language models, right, at this particular moment. And so we are in a very fluid situation. I don't think this problem is fixed. All we can do is marvel at its possibilities and despair at its unpredictability. Right? That is the status quo today. Right? So obviously, caveat emptor, use it with caution. Right? Nonetheless, it is worth knowing how to do it. So the way we will do that is, this today needs quite a bit of setup, which is why we'll have a long break. Now, I trust that all of you have at least one database server of your choice installed on your machine or in your cloud, wherever you want it to be, right? If not, the simplest one that I would recommend is MySQL. Go to the MySQL website, download the free version. Remember, community edition is good enough. Don't go start paying them, right? And I mean, of course, if you would love to, then you're most welcome to, but you don't have to pay them. Right? Then there is a schema. See, typically you have lots of sample databases, but I picked a database that had a OLAP schema. OLAP is, what is OLAP? Does anyone know what is OLAP? A star schema. What is OLAP? Has anybody heard of this word, OLAP?
The one that you use for analyzing business data.
Sort of.
Was for the analytical
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. See, guys, what happens is that whenever you create a database traditionally, because you expect both read and writes, right? You expect inserts to take place, updates to take place. So those databases you need to keep in what is called the third normal form. There's absolutely no duplication of data. When you create a schema, a relational schema that is in the so-called third normal form, and forgive me if this jargon doesn't make sense, but in very simple terms, it means that no piece of data is ever repeated. Right? Why should data not be repeated? Because when updates are going on, you don't want two copies of the data, one getting updated and the other not, because then there's a there's a coherence problem based on which table you read the data from. You may get one answer versus the other answer. So a third normal form representation of the data says there is one and only one truth about a piece of data, because it's stored like that in one place. When you store data in the third normal form, then you look at the schema and you notice that it is just a spider's web of foreign key relationships, one to many to many, lots of this, right? And those of you who have made databases, schemas, know what I'm talking about. Before you know it, it looks like a spaghetti mess of complicated foreign keys and so forth. The trouble with that is any kind of thing that you want to know, top 10 of something or whatever it is, those become complicated SQL queries. You need to join this with that, with that, with that, with that. You have to navigate multiple tables. You have to create dynamic views and whatnot. And you must be seeing that you do subqueries and whatnot to get your answer sometimes. And sometimes you ask, didn't I just ask a very simple question? Right? With a few group buys and aggregates should have done it. And so there was a rethinking of all of this as more and more analytical queries began to be asked. In fact, the foundation of this whole world of business, so-called business intelligence or data analytics, started with the works of such pioneers as Kimball, who said that the third normal form databases, or the so-called OLTP, online transaction processing databases, are not the right structure for when you want to do analytical query. Let that OLTP be the source of truth, but we need to take data from there and re-represent it in a completely different way called the star schema. We need to distinguish between two types of data, facts and dimensions. In the language of machine learning, facts are measurables, right? So for example, you have lots of people, right? On a given day, what your weight is a fact, right? Now, the person has a certain age associated with that. The person has a certain location, a certain income, a certain medical history, and those are dimensions to the person. Are we together? So I could ask, what is the average age of people with diabetes in the Bay Area? You see that, right? Or what is the average weight of such people, and so on and so forth. So I could be asking questions on facts or dimensions, but you distinguish, or another way to say it is that dimension is the context of a fact, context of a measure. You have a number, 72 degree Fahrenheit. Now, what is 72 degree Fahrenheit? You can say, well, in Fremont on Saturday, today, right, at 11 a.m., the temperature was 72 degree Fahrenheit. Does it make sense, guys? So that which gives meaning to a number, context to a number, are the dimensions. The numbers themselves, the measurables, are facts. That's one very rough way of mapping it to data science. Are we together? So what people do is that they make this star schemas, star-like structures. The core of the star, or think of it as a hub and spokes. In the center is a table of measures. Those are called the fact table. They are narrow. They don't have too many columns. They're narrow, but they're very deep. They will have millions of rows. a large number of rows, whatever your notion of large is, right? So imagine that you're looking at a store. Every single item that gets sold, order entry, is for a e-commerce or for a commercial business, retail business, is a fact, right? For $30, a particular thing was sold, but that particular thing is a dimension. Who bought it is a dimension. The location where it was bought a dimension. Even the date is in fact a dimension, right? Because you can aggregate over dates and say, well, give me the sales for this week, for this month, for this day, right? The items are dimensions because something got bought. So transactions or the facts are vast number of facts will happen. Lots of transactions, lot of things, order entries will be there. But those order entries will span a limited number of items. A store will have what? Maybe, unless it's a mega store, it will have a typical store that, let's take a number, 1,000 items that it's selling, isn't it? It will have, that business will have maybe half a dozen locations, isn't it? And the distinct number of customers would be the number of people in the neighborhood who walk by that store, right? And its client base, its customer base. Right? So those are dimensions. So a star. So now in this particular case, the reason we went to is I deliberately wanted to take a database that has been, the word is denormalized into a star schema, into a OLAP. And one of the, think of it as a popular learning databases is called the Food Mart, right? Because Food Mart is very intuitive. People are buying some items and so forth. So this is it. So we are going to install. Now what I'll do is on the Slack, I'll put the entire data as a SQL query. You run the SQL script, it will insert the data into your MySQL database. Right. And I'll leave this as a group exercise to help each other, and we will help you install MySQL and then take this, and these are the commands you'll use in the MySQL shell. But before that, let's go and do that. What we will do is we need some installs. Make sure that your MySQL is installed, the Python library to connect to MySQL database, the driver library is installed. Then create a user and password. You can pick it to be whatever you want. Here, I picked the user to be NLP and the password to be this. You can pick whatever you want. Create a user in the system and give that user access to this database, the Food Mart database. Use the GUI tool, use whatever you want, or just use the command line, create user blah, identified by blah. Then grant privileges, all privileges to blah, all of those things. And I trust you are familiar with that. If not, we'll help you through. Then, but now see something quite interesting. We are going to query this database, right? Which is a pretty complicated, pretty big database with lots of tables. I believe 30, 40 tables, not a huge database, but it has its fair number of tables, 30, 40 tables. We are not going to tell this data, this large language model and this LangChain anything at all about what the tables are and columns are. We don't tell it anything. We don't say where is what data. We say, okay, somewhere in there is the information, go find it. Now, think about it for a moment, guys. Even if you're SQL gurus, when you go and hit somebody's enterprise database, the first thing is the whole damn thing takes weeks to just get the hang, make head and tail out of their schema, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Right? It's a nuisance. So now we are saying we don't need to do that. We will do this. So we create an agent which is pretty good with SQL. So what do? We create a tool. Remember, agents figure out how to do it. They use tools, and they, in effect, agents leverage our large language model to do their thinking. At the same time, use the large language model at every stage of the way and tools for every stage of the way. So what will it need to connect to the database? It will need a SQL toolkit. Right? So there's a SQL database toolkit. It will do it. So if you look at this syntax, I hope the syntax feels very easy. Does it? You create a database toolkit with this database connections, right? DB is just a connection to the database. And you give the toolkit and a connection to that particular database. Then you create an agent. What does an agent need? Remember, a large language model and tools. And we give both.
What is temperature equal to 0 mean?
Oh, what is temperature equal to 0? Who would like to enlighten me? Softmax temperature, how predictable, like how much you want to take the most likely solution versus the next most likely and the other one. If you set the temperature higher, it is likely that it will sample the next most also. It will give those people more chance, whereas otherwise it will give most of the chance to the most likely.
That's a agents ability to follow all and stuff.
No, actually it doesn't. So sometimes what people do actually, paradoxically, because this whole thing is so probabilistically, they will rerun a thing by setting the temperature high, and they will take the majority of the 4 answers or something like that. Or they will run it 3-4 times, and a couple of times it will fail and a couple of times it will succeed. Right. So it's pretty odd actually what hacks people do. Go ahead.
So temperature 0 is really just one answer.
The highest probability answer. But even then it actually doesn't work like that, because it is sampling. It is more in the sampling is more likely to pick the highest probability answer, but more likely. You run it again and you'll still see that sometimes it does something different.
It will give you a few answers.
No, it will take one path, right? So you have to rerun it. And so take this as an exercise, rerun it with different temperatures and see it, right?
Basically, here it's passing the language model, OpenAI, and then toolkit is basically like a database handle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a tool. Remember that in the LangChain language, you get some tools, you get an agent, and you get a model. And the agent deconstructs the query into, or the instruction into a set of things to do, and does it with the help of these things, right?
It's a high fluidness. Persistent means all the time, if you have 0 temperature, it will give you the same answer.
No, it doesn't. It is still sampling. It is still sampling probabilistically. It is more likely to pick the highest, the highest probability answer.
So it is not precision.
It's not. There is no precision. That is the stochastic. That is what infuriates people. See, when you write code, every time the code will run and produce exactly the same answer. But in this world, every time you run it, you ask, where does the sun rise from? Once it will say from the east, tomorrow it will say maybe from the west, then day after it will say maybe northish, right? So you don't know. So see, guys, we are looking at the beginning of something good. At this moment is highly imperfect, but we are looking at the possibilities. So look at the query. How many employees are there? And then I'm also saying, show also the query used to find it. By the way, how many of you, Athira and Srinath, if you're here, probably not. They had asked me this question, how do we get the query? So we'll come to that. Here we go. I run this query. Did I tell the machine where the employees would be? No, right? It looks at this table, observation. List table. First thing it does is it says common sense. Let me get the list of tables, and it gets the list like this. And what does it find? Somewhere in there, there's an employee table. So it says, well, that must be it. I should query the employee table to get the number of employees, right? And so it will create an action, query a SQL DB. And then what will it do? It will think of a, now, do you notice that it is itself thinking of the right prompt to send it? It is saying, okay, let's say select count staff from employees. Instruction. It is firing it up. It's coming back with an answer, right? In the typical data science language, it comes with a list of tuples, and the tuple is one dimensional because 1155, comma, right? Then it says, oh, I know the answer now. And it says there are 1155 employees. And the SQL query used to find this was because you asked it to give you the SQL query, select count star. And so this is the output. There are 1155 employees. The SQL query used to find this was blah.
If like this is probably a simple SQL.
Hold that thought in your mind, because I was hoping somebody would ask that thought. Yeah, it's something so simple. Yes, it could do it. What about something more complicated? Then I say retrieve all the min, max,
Mm.
and average salary. Right? Now what happens? Then it says, I need to figure out where can I get the salary information? It says, oh, great, there's a table called salary. Then it says, okay, I should query for that. So it says, again, a simple one, select min, max, average from salary. Isn't it, guys?
Yeah, if there was a table, if there was not a table with that name, would it still be able to find it?
No, it will say I couldn't find it.
So you have to have a table with that name.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to. Call it something else. So long as it can infer that it's a closest match, it will go for it. Right? You don't have to call it salary. So here, actually, I made it too easy for it. Let me just change it to income. Right?
Yep,
Or something like that. It will still work.
This is natural.
It's natural language processing. Exactly. Take some synonym of salary, it will still work.
You can hack like something pretty fast.
Yes. And in fact, there's a company called Hex.ai, Hex AI, which is literally doing this. It's saying, and obviously they have put in a lot more effort than we put in this notebook, but it is basically this idea taken to industrial scale. Now they're saying the right way to query is with natural languages, and it emits out pretty long SQL queries. And by the way, Srinath, who was in the ML100 course, he literally is doing this for Cloudera. He came to me, he says, oh, I'm trying to create, thinking people are creating prompts to do something with data in the big data stack. Cloudera has this too, Hue, etc. One of the suggestions he gave is go try it with this. He did it and he comes back, is smiling. He says that he just announced in the company a new tool called Smart Query. They're actually going to release it. Right? And this is the beauty, guys. You know, you can make smart people like Srinath. They just need a hint. And then they run with it, and now they're making a difference to Cloudera's product, one of the leading products, right? A querying product, and it can query Hive, it can query all of these databases and so forth, big data databases. And soon it will be in the hands of all their customers, making a difference. That is the potential. That's what I say. So guys, look at this. The min salary is this, the average salary is this, right? So now you could be more sophisticated. Return the full name and salary of each of the top 20 different highest earning employees. Do you notice the wording? I'm saying top 20 different, right? So the same guy who earns a lot may have earned maximum amount month after month after month. So you don't want that guy's name all the time, right? Different employees. It has to parse it and understand it. So now you see that the queries start getting more and more complicated, right? So now it says full name from employees, do that and construct it, blah, 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 full name, order by descending, and there we go. And it says produce it as HTML, and it produces it as HTML. How many of you like it?
Yeah, this is really good.
Right?
So the text that is coming out, is that the one generated by the?
Yes.
It tells you what it's doing.
Yes. It is showing you its thought, because we said verbose is equal to true.
Oh.
So it is showing, but if you don't get that, it won't. Yeah. And you can, like for privacy, you can also say intermediate steps is false. It won't show you the in-between step. In production, you want it that way, right? You don't want to see the intermediate steps. You could be more precise. You said who specifically is the highest paid, right? So then it goes about querying. And do you notice that after a little while, the queries are getting a little bit more complicated? Because now what does it have to do? The salary table only contains IDs. You have to go somewhere else to go find the names. And it knows how to do the joins. It does an inner join. All right.
How does it know?
Well, I hope by now you should have figured that out. This is the NLP course. Interesting, isn't it?
Take away one job.
Yes. Right. Yeah. But
This thing I can do.
yes, exactly. This is it.
Big
Was there a human feedback in the loop for them to figure out this query, or?
No, reinforcement learning with human feedback. RLHF is certainly there, but by now all of these models have become very good. By the way, I really hope that this is the last time I'm using OpenAI. By the time we start with deep learning foundational architectures, we will be using open source models.
Yeah, amen to that. We need to
Yeah.
move away from AI and not give our hard-earned money to Microsoft.
We have a cut of which one?
Oh, yes, yes, lots of them. In fact, today's paper, so why don't you wait for the afternoon paper reading? It'll be fun. Guys, are you having fun? Right? Yeah. So look at that. Now, suppose I say, consider all the stores. For each store, return the name of the store, the state it belongs to, and the total store sales. Return the results in the following format. Again, HTML-ish, like, right? And see what it does. It goes, the queries get more and more complicated now. Look at this query now, this time around. Right? Do you notice that it's smartening up, right? And from that, it comes to something. And then it says, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this. It begins to do all of that. And it comes up with this. Do you color yourself impressed? Right? But then, see, here's the thing. If you are with databases, averages are easy, AVG. Try computing the median, you'll get screwed, right? And yet, if there's one thing you learned at Support Vectors, I hope it is that don't ever trust averages. Why? I'll state it with a joke. Statistician, an engineer, and let's say a doctor went to the woods hunting. And they're all sitting quietly and they see a deer. The engineer shoots, misses by 10 feet on the left. The doctor shoots and misses 10 feet on the right. Now is the statistician's turn. And he says, I don't need to shoot. On average, the deer is shot already. So never trust averages. Right? More scientifically, remember averages work only in symmetric data. And most data are skewed. In skewed data, it's a disaster to use averages. There is an example. I was listening to National Public Radio. There was an economist who has written a book. And she said, she was being interviewed, and she said that, you know, we all keep bemoaning that the economy is doing badly and we don't have money in our pocket. But she studied and she found that even in the poorest state of the United States, which I believe was Mississippi, but I may get it wrong, or Alabama, or something like that, one of the deep South states, the average income is still, when you do a cost of living index adjustment with France, it is still much more than the purchasing power of that income is still much more than the French people. So guys, what is wrong with that? I gave you the hint. What's wrong with that reasoning?
Average, they took
Average. Why? Yes, exactly. So even the poorest states, actually, there are no poor in US. The rich people are everywhere, and they hold most of the wealth. So in whichever state it was, all you needed to do when you do the averages, for there to be a few billionaires there, and they pull up the average, isn't it?
A median would have been better choice, right, Asif?
Come again, please.
A median would have been a better choice.
A median would have been better. Right? The most likely that also. So you have to look at all of those. You should quantify all the statistics. What's the median? What's the geometric mean? The harmonic mean, the mode, and so forth. And so what happens is that they give you some sense. And the very fact that the average is way out there should give you a sense that there is enormous wealth asymmetry, isn't it? And I mean, people write all sorts of nonsensical books. I don't mind that. But for NPR, which I have a lot of respect for them to say all this and be impressed with it, it shows the level of mathematical illiteracy in the country. It's absolutely abysmal, right? Just horrendous. So if there's one lesson to learn, don't go with median when the data is skewed. First ask, is the data really unskewed? Then only use median. Okay, so now then only use average. So here what we'll do you think salaries in particular are ever symmetric?
No.
Do they have a bell curve distribution?
No.
If there is one thing we know in human history,
Right.
There is always, yes, it's right skewed. There is always inequity. As long as human beings have been there, even before money came about, the powerful had more of the hunting, got bigger share of the kill, right? Always. Was that?
Isn't true that the small country England controls the entire world?
Yeah, it's always been like that. Yeah, it's true at every level. So now the question is, okay, why am I saying all that? You know that MySQL will give you the average. What about the median? There is no median function in MySQL, the last I checked. But suppose I pose you this question, go find the median. Now what can you do? You know that your SQL tool will not do. So what should you do? You should create a chain of chains, one level higher. You use one chain, one agent to get you the salaries, another one to find the median of the salaries. Isn't it, guys? And would that be lovely? And so in a seamless way, how can you query a database and get the median, do the data science at the same time? Do you see it, guys? Huh? And you can extend it by saying, make me a histogram or whatever it is. Right? Or produce, and by the way, I encourage you to do that. The one lovely thing that you can do is you can actually have it write matplotlib code and produce a plot for you as LangChain. Right? Take this as an exercise, or extend this and plot the salaries and make a KDE, kernel density estimator. You know that, right? ML100, we've done all of that. Just emit out the matplotlib code to do that. And believe me, you can do that with a few, very small bit of work here, right? So we create something called a sequential chain, right? Here is the sequential chain. Once again, I've set the temperature to 0 to have some level of predictability. And I'm saying, fetch the total. Oh, I should have written the queries out separately. But fetch the total sales. Let me clean up the code, guys, a little bit. A query. This is dirty code.
You assigned LLM password.
Oh my goodness, yes, I did indeed. Sorry, it shows because I was writing this code at 4:30 in the morning today. This is unfortunately how busy I've become these days, trying to get support vectors off the ground. And much better, guys, more readable. Right. And we'll say query. When you do that, see what it does. First, it gets a list of table. Then I should look at the schema of table to see what columns I could use. It comes to the table. This is it, sales, right? And then it says, all right, I should query the total sales of each store sorted by store sales. Right? So it wants to produce the thing in sorted order, right? And so it produces this query, right? Total sales. It has put a limit by 10. I'll leave it as exercise for you to remove that. Right? Then it says, okay, I have to compute the median, right? And then it says, all right, that is easy because it has access to the ability to do the median from a list. All it has to do is go pick it up, and it picks it up. 5, 4. I believe because they're 10, it sort of puts these two together, I believe. Or this and this together. Oh no, this is the median. This is the median guy. Okay. So it just picks out the median from that. How many of you like that?
Really good.
It's really good, right? That is it. So this is it, guys. You can do for interesting things. You could literally make it right for you, the pandas and the matplotlib code to create the visualizations and so forth. Yeah, and many things, but I thought I'll keep it simple so that when you review it, it doesn't feel overwhelming. But you can imagine the potential of this LangChain library and how many things it can do with transformers.
How would this impact, like, what we do today, like SQL engineers and data engineers?
They should jubilate at the fact that these things are imprecise. Like every time you ask them the question, it comes up with a different answer. So at least for a few weeks, their jobs are safe. Until there is yet another breakthrough that catches up with it. Yeah, I'm kidding, guys. No, see, what happens is all those, they have deep expertise, right? Those database engineers, SQL, they need to move up the food chain. They can't be doing the obvious things.
They have to use this and then go up.
Go up. And they have to use these tools and smarten up. Yeah.
So I have a question here. I think last week we were doing Shalini and everybody else like trying to ask OpenAI to create a new language. And what it was doing was like we said that these LLMs keeps the context.
Yes.
And then that's why they are LLMs, right? So
Yeah.
we keep where the discussion started. But over in the last week, what we saw was like when we were asking, how do you say certain things in certain language? So it was constantly changing, like the way you asked in Hindi versus in Arabic or.
That is right.
So it was. So the base was changing depending on the language.
Yeah. So Farhan, here's the thing. I haven't watched the video. I think, Kate, have you shared that recording yet? From the last
Which recording?
week? From last week.
From last week, I have some sections of it that I
Okay,
can
only
share.
some sections. Yeah, so I haven't watched what happened last week, but just guessing from what Shalini did, here is the thing, guys. There is no doubt that at this moment, these are stochastic machines, right? Based on what, like literally, there are some people who are moody, right? Based on which side of the bed they get out of. They will be either have a positive outlook or a grumpy outlook on the day. There's something of that with these large language models based on when you ask. But actually, I like to think of it as this thing, Dorothy in, what's that story? Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz.
But I think then isn't it like they like where we started with this LLMs where they keep the context.
No, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, Parag. Just bear with me. It's a long answer. So just like in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy goes through the yellow brick road and finally gets to the wizard. And the wizard is pretty erratic, isn't it? From behind the curtains, you never can trust that answer, what it is. And it turns out that the wizard has really no powers. So there's something of that. Unfortunately, the wizard is very powerful here, but it is erratic. And so it keeps changing its answers. Having said that,
all the questions basically, like, you know what, like the problem was, how do you say, for example, I would say, just an example, in English, you say, how do I go home, right? And then translate into Urdu or whatever the language is, okay, that's good, right? But you say, okay, how do you say Dano? So instead of keeping the context of how do I go home, for the same language, it was saying something else and answering in an internal.
absolutely. So that is easily solved. That is very easily solved. What you should have done is not use the large language model directly, but made it a part of a LangChain. Now, in the LangChain, I just realized as a significant omission, I didn't tell you about memories. One of the concepts here is memories, so that it is forced to retain the context and always take that context in answering the next and the next and the next question. So now that you guys mentioned that this is what you tried, let me create a notebook for that. It is a solved. You can do that. Yeah. Memories is one aspect that yeah. So you need to make it a LangChain with memories. That's it. Yeah.
You were speaking the other day, right, on this agent-based thing, like all these agents working with each other. Was that part of LangChain?
Yes, it's all LangChain. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Not that. Those guys, the simulacra paper, I don't know whether they use, I don't think so. They may have, I don't know. They may have used LangChain. They did not declare it. Actually, I have not seen their actual code because whether they use LangChain or not, my guess is they didn't, because their project was done before LangChain came out or was coming out at the same time. So I don't think they use the thing. But the concept of agent has been there in AI ever since there has been AI. Right? In fact, the word agent is almost endemic to this whole field. It's sort of central to the field of concept of AI. So who is the artificially intelligent thing? The agent. That's how people have thought about it.
So even that paper is now obsolete compared to the line.
Oh, no, not obsolete. That's a landmark work. It's just that would you re-implement it today, including LangChain, etc.? Probably. Right? But yeah, see, that paper has many things. It was done using 3.5 turbo, 3.5. Now 4 has come up, and there are already YouTube articles that point out that the same work now yields even better results. So it has only reinforced the validity of what they said in the similar crap paper. With GPT-4, it gets even better. Yeah. All right, guys, was that fun? Could we go to the next one?
This llama, it got leaked out or what? But
Well, deliberately or inadvertently, it was leaked out by Facebook. Once it was leaked out, you can't put the cat in the bag again, right? It's out and running around. And now it has led to a whole set of revolutions, and for good, actually, because the open source community took it and ran with it, absolutely ran with it. And they have done such wonderful things to it. One of the papers we'll do today afternoon, they have just done wonderful, wonderful things with it. So guys, I will call in for a break because I need to order your lunch. I'm thinking veggie dum biryani and something like palak paneer and naan. Does that all sound good? Right? Okay, let me go order it for you guys. Let's take a break. Let's take a okay, guys, before I do the break, I'm going to put these notebooks on your Slack before I order food. Please go install MySQL if you don't have it. Import the data, run these notebooks. So I'm going to make it a half an hour break so that you can do the whole setup. All right, it will take you that much time. Let me do that and then I'll order lunch and we'll take it from there. So folks, welcome back from lunch. We had a long break in which you got a chance to set up your database server, import the schema, and run the Jupyter notebook associated with database queries. The lesson we learned is that you can ask questions from the database in natural language, just as a database engineer would listen to you and would translate those things into SQL. What we are seeing is an emerging ability in the large language models to take over that role, to understand that natural language and translate it into SQL. If you think about it, it is an exercise in language translation, right? It's more than that, obviously, because you have to understand the structure of a database, the relationships, and also have some understanding of SQL to be able to pull it off. Isn't it interesting that we have trained these large language models with so much of our programming languages, so much of our SQL examples, and that it has more or less figured out, not quite perfectly yet, there are still gaps and scope for improvement, but to quite an extent, it has figured out how to translate from human language to SQL and then to retrieve the data. The second thing we saw is that there are things that you don't want to do in a SQL database. You want to do it using things, post-process it. And we saw an example of using a math post-processor to come up with a median. Right. So they should give you an idea of the possibilities. Now, these are very real things. As I said, there are startups already in flight that have say, give us your schema, give us the connection to your database and ask questions in natural language, and they retrieve the data for you and write the right SQL. And those things have gotten, obviously those effort there is far more intense than our notebook, which is a starter notebook in this direction. So that is that. Now I will give you, we will move on to another example. That example would be the next notebook, which is about QA, question answering. Can you give it? Now, if you remember, we did question answering with the sentence BERT and the sentence BERT models, and we were quite effective. This is along the same lines, but weaved into LangChain. Just for convenience, I've used the OpenAI, but I encourage you to use, to directly use some of the open source models. I will be releasing you another a version of this with the using the open source tools, right? For the sentence BERT, of course, we already saw that. We did even visual question answers, but now we will see how to do it using LangChain. Now, to do that, you need some libraries. HNSWLib, of course, you're familiar with. We did that in sentence BERT, one of the first sessions. You need ChromaDB, vector database. It turns out that the open source database ChromaDB is fast emerging as a very popular vector database stores. Why do we need vector database stores? The moment you do sentence embeddings, you get vectors. You need to store those vectors somewhere. A very good place to store the vector is the ChromaDB. There are other ones like Pinecone, and there are quite a few commercial ones also emerging. But in the truly open source one is the Chroma. And it's pretty good actually for our purposes. So here I'll take an example. As always, I tend to take some of the books that I, as a child, used to love very much. This is a really poignant story by George Eliot, a British author. Despite the name, George Eliot was actually a pen name for a woman, Mary Evans. And she is, in my view, one of the greatest authors who ever lived because of her large heart and humanity. If you go to Westminster's Abbey, you find the great people all little plaques and mausoleums and so forth for the great people who died. The great of England and of US also. Roosevelt's, there is a place for him. And from what I hear, the new prince has been crowned. The coronation has taken place in Westminster Abbey. I went to Westminster Abbey. There is Newton, and they are great people. But I went there to look for the plaque that is for George Eliot, for her. And there's something remarkable about the plaque for her. While other plaques say, oh, here was this great king, great and noble king, and this and that queen, and this and that scientist, and so forth. For George Eliot, actually, it's just a plaque that has one of her sayings. And I think that saying speaks more eloquently than any praise that anybody could have made about her. And to my knowledge, and I've looked up all the things in Westminster Abbey carefully, hers is the only plaque in which her words are put rather than someone else's eulogy for her. And so anyway, it should give you a sense of how much I like this author. We are going to use one of her stories that as a 15-year-old, I absolutely was touched by and had a deep influence on me. It's a story called A Mill on the Floss about a brother and a sister, Tom and Maggie Tolliver. You know the story? You did in school, is it? Oh, nice. Albert says that he learned it in school, Mill on the Floss. So I encourage you to read the story. It's a very human story. So what we are going to do, let's say that, and again, LangChain has loaders, data loaders. It has a large collection of data loaders. So if you were to go and see LangChain, data loaders, you would be, and this is something I want to introduce you to, how many loaders there are, document loaders there are. Do you see this long list of loaders? Let's go through it carefully. Oh, oh my goodness, I'm not sharing my screen. I apologize. What am I doing? I forgot this. Okay. Any better? What am I sharing now? That's it, yeah. Okay, so to recap, I was on this particular one. query. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about Mill on the Floss by George Eliot. So now it's there in Gutenberg. Those of you who are not familiar with Gutenberg, it is the world's largest repository of legally available free books. And all the great classics are there. Any book that has outside copyright, and copyright, I believe, holds for 100 years. So any book that's more than 100 years old is present there. And it is now available. What is most convenient is for our tasks, it is available through a loader. So let's look at the document loaders in LangChain. It is worth looking at the richness of it. So I'll randomly pick some. Look at this, YouTube transcripts. Think about it. You want to get a YouTube transcript? Literally, you can get the text of a YouTube video with one-liner. Isn't that wonderful, guys? You can get the video information using PyTube and so forth. And these are examples. And I just started from the bottom. The next one from the bottom is Wikipedia, that great repository of human knowledge. Again, isn't it wonderful that you could literally load documents? You can search in Wikipedia programmatically and get those documents just like that, right? Just like that. And you could do, where am I? WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very popular as a, yes, you could get WhatsApp chat in the chat text, and you could query what in the world the conversation is about, right? And you could literally load, right, all the HTML from web pages into a document, scrape text from web pages into a document. Obviously, you have to be careful because it needs some post cleanup, but it does a pretty good job of it, right? And it's just a couple of lines. I don't know if you realize that this is a software that is in 0.0161 version. They are not anywhere claiming that they are even 0.1, right? And yet it is so feature rich. And this whole thing has just come about recently. You can get content from any URL, unstructured URL loader, and it will go get you that, right? It will give you unstructured file, any kind of a file of any kind. It will just extract the content from it. And you can get that. Any text file, for example, the State of the Union address and so forth. And I'm just walking back. Twitter, we all know Twitter. You could get your text, the content from Twitter. And as you can see, the Twitter metadata and data. A terminal file is quite often used for configuration of applications. And so it can read terminal files. You can just ask, is this configuration present in my setup or on my server cluster? And things like that. Telegram is another social media thing you could do. A subtitle, I don't know what it is. Subrip file format is described on, well, whatever it is, I don't know. But you guys can look into that. Stripe is financial software. Again, I'm not that into it. Spreedly is a service that allows you to score credit card. Okay, not my cup of tea. Slack, of course, we all use extensively, isn't it? And so there it is, right? And a sitemap files and so forth. And it goes on. We can go on. I'll just randomly pick some useful ones. Chat GPT data you can get, College Confidential, many of you are familiar with this, about, it gives you information on 3,800. So you can query in case your son is going to go to, or daughter is going to go to college. Now is your way to programmatically ask questions, which is the good college and how much would it cost? Little late, yes. And EPUB, of course, it can scrape through EPUB, through files, through GitHub, through Google. And the part that I find actually very useful is the Google Drive, Google Cloud Storage, and BigQuery. I find them extremely useful, because enterprise, we have a lot of data in BigQuery. In my case, Google Drive, of course, who doesn't have a huge amount of files in the Google Drive? And so all of these are there, guys. You can do that, right? And not to mention that you can load any Hugging Face data set, of course, right? IMDb, JSON file, Jupyter Notebook, right? If you want to treat a Jupyter Notebook as a data source, you can load that too. And lo and behold, it will get the content out of it. Right? JSON files. So enough said on that topic. Now, we are going to go to Gutenberg Loader to load this book of mine that I like. Well, I didn't read, I mean, but one of my favorite books, Mill on the Floors. You load the data. Now, character text splitter, think of it as your tokenizer. What in Hugging Face you would call tokenizer. This is it. It will get you that, it will break it up into texts. Are we together? Right. So maybe I should show you what those texts look like. Let me break it up here. And let me run this from the beginning. And let me insert here one. B. As you can see, it is made up of little bits of content. It has been broken up into it. This content goes from here to here, right? Then mostly in the beginning will be copyrights and so forth. But after that, it gets interesting. Here, document page, book first, boy and girl, outdoor, outside the Darklet mill and so forth. So that's where the mill part is, love scene, etc., etc. So you can see the content come out at you. Right? If you want to say, let's say that I want to go to the third one, third, 3, and then I can say dot page content, and you could do, oops, sorry, document object is not scriptable. What is this? Let's see, document, and this document contains dot page content. Let us see if I can do that. I'm trying this thing on the fly. There we go. We get it. And if you do a print, actually, let me do it like this. I find it easier to do display markdown. Much better, right? This gives you the table of content. Let me take some random one, 21. Let's see what that is. Look at this. So beautifully it gets, but as you can see, when it chunks by size, and you get these little pieces of text. What do we do with the snippets? Why are we chunking it, guys? Can you guess why are we chunking it up into pieces? Why not feed the entire text? You should know the answer. Exactly, the token limit, right? So if you remember, as BERT, we had a 512 token limit. If you use a big bird, it had 4,000. Open the GPT-4, I believe, is a 8,000 token limit or something like that, 8 or 16,000 token limit. So there is a limit to the number of tokens you can feed in for indexing. So no, actually, it wouldn't be GPT-4. It would be the ADA 002. ADA 002, I believe, has a 8,000 token limit. Yeah, that's what's the OpenAI's embedding says ADA 002. By the way, you can download that. You don't have to go there and do it. You could do that. Now, what are we doing? We are getting the embeddings from that text. And where are we storing the embedding? We are storing it into the Chroma database. You get an index. What you are getting is an index then. And then you're going to use this index to retrieve documents, retrieved text and their embeddings. So you create a retrieval QA system, question answer system from chain type. Of course, LLM is them, chain type is stuff. Now, this thing, guys, now I find at this moment, the library is still evolving. I have never figured out what are all the chain types. I mean, every time I figure out some of them, more of them get added or something else happens. Right. So I'm having a hard time catching up. If you know a better way, then let me know. because I myself, like you all, I'm still in the learning curve. I think we are all in the learning curve. Mm, so I asked a question. Now look at this question. It's not an easy question to answer. I'm saying, what were Maggie's most poignant childhood memories? You know, it's a higher level question. You're not asking for a fact. Where was the mill, or where is this location? Or what did X say to Y? Which would be quoting verbatim, searching and getting it. Do you realize that a question like this can never be answered by a search engine, traditional search engine, right? It needs a lot of processing. And it said fairly accurately, Maggie's most poignant childhood memories were of a struggle between her inward impulses and outward facts. Her eager life in the triplet world of reality, books, and waking dreams, and her feelings of privation, which made it hard for her to enjoy the present moment. I suppose this can be said for many of us bookworms. Then I asked her another question, but observe it. It understands the text. Do you see this? It has made sense of the text. The next question we ask is, what makes us love this earth so much, according to this author? Right? Explain it with 2 paragraphs. And the interesting thing was, when I asked this, I happen to know the book more or less, large sections of it by heart, memorize some of its most passages. And there is a passage there that goes something like that, that we would not have loved this earth so much if we did not have a childhood in it. It is our childhood memories that pins us down to this earth. Right? So the hips and haws and blades of grass and things like that. And so it seems to paraphrase that. It says, according to the author, we love the earth so much because of our childhoods in it. The little things of childhood, like the sound of a gate door, the shape and color of a roof, and the sunlight on deep bladed grass, all have strong associations for us. The memories of these childhood moments stay with us and transform our perceptions into love. This is literally paraphrasing what she was saying. That is why we are able to appreciate the beauty of the earth so deeply. We have experienced it in its most intimate and formative moments. And those memories shape our relationship to it for the rest of our lives. I hope it does resonate with you. But more importantly, do you see, guys, what is the state of the art of natural language processing today? I wonder what it will be the next time I teach this course. Because it's already achieving human-like capabilities. Actually, I doubt that most schoolboys would be able to write so eloquently in their answers to questions if this question came in the exam. What do you say, Abdullah?
It's very rare to find people who can write like this.
Yes. What's that? Before now? Yeah. 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 No, actually, there is a second paragraph in here with 2 separate paragraphs with, let us say, with, yeah, with P as the separator. Let's try this now, right? Let's give it a separator. Oh, a QA is not. Okay, so I have to instantiate it. I haven't run this part. I think I stopped running here. So let me run from here. Chroma is good. No, but I like it because it's an emerging database. It's open source. You would like to support it. But more importantly, like in my case, I used to not use Pinecone, etc., because I just felt it's all getting too commercial. I used to literally maintain my own FAS and scan indices. and manage them myself. Like literally I had a homegrown database to manage it. Viviate is also open source. Yeah, Viviate is good. There is another one, Qdrant. Qdrant. I like that also. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, the good thing with Qdrant is that it has solved one problem. When you search for things and it gets searched, it doesn't lose relationship between things. There's something very interesting. If you go to the Qdrant website and you look at the way, they are very graph theory based. And they emphasize the HNSW lib quite a bit. Right. Yeah. But that's the same thing that we were doing in our class. Remember, I said that search, pre-search, add some traditional search, and then use a cross encoder at the end of it. That's all it is. I mean, that's what Bing does. Bing is trying to, yeah, weave everything together. That's right. But you know, as you can see, I've spent my whole life with Linux and Java and open source things. So every time I hear the name of a commercial software, I get hives, allergic hives. It's just a very polarized view. So anyway, so where were we? This retrieve this, and then so we are asking impulse, and then we are going to ask this question. Let's say this time I asked it to give a separator and see what it says. See, did you get 2 paragraphs? Yes. So register for my prompt engineering course promptly. No, but seriously, now the new thing, in my opinion, will be creating new programming languages, which are a hybrid of prompting and structured language. The old language, Java, I mean, I have done Java since 1994, right? But I think C, Java, or the days are coming to an end. Now what is going to happen is all programming languages will have to be rethought to leverage the LLMs. Yeah, things like that. But see, the very fact that LLMs can emit out reams of code, it means that it has some internal representation which is more efficient, and it's just spilling out a more inefficient representation, isn't it? So why not rethink the whole space of programming languages so that we make more efficient programming languages, more semantically relevant programming languages? It's time to do that, in my view. So let us hope that in 5 years, at this moment, according to the TOB index, the top programming languages are Python, Java, and C. Right? Let us hope that in 5 years, the top programming languages would be languages whose names we haven't heard of. Yeah. Yes, that will be interesting. No, guys, everything is up for a toss. Like, for example, what does code coverage mean? What does unit testing mean? Everything is now up for a toss, because in a way, what these large language models are showing, by being able to write all those test cases and everything for us, we may be delighted. One way is to say delighted, wow, it's able to do that. But another way of looking at it is, maybe this is not the best way we should be writing code anymore. We need a much more succinct and powerful representation. So somewhat like the effort I hear Shalini was making in the previous weekend, trying to create a language. Yes. So guys, is it fun? Right? So run this code, guys, on your own and see what you get. And while you're at it, when you create OpenAI, give it a high temperature so you get different results. Yeah? You get a variety of results coming out of it. Okay. I'll put this updated notebook there. Then let's go to another one, which you will use in your lab, in your project, guys. Guys, today I'll also give an hour to talking about the project more. give you a breakdown of the pieces. I would have liked to cover at least one paper, but if a paper doesn't get covered. Now, one more thing, guys, I'm planning to cover at least 2 papers, open it to everyone, but frankly, my target audience would be you guys. Every week, I'll be announcing 2 paper readings. Typically, one will be Friday lunchtime, and one will be another weekday lunchtime. I don't know which weekday. So how are you guys? Is that something reasonable for you guys? Would you prefer lunchtime or would you prefer early morning? Evenings, no, evenings I'm teaching. Namaz, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mornings are better. Mornings I'm hiking, so I'll have to do it from the woods or sitting in the mountains. I can do. 10 o'clock. Or actually, I don't mind. Like when I go hiking, sort of an in-between stage for me is about 7:30, 8 in the morning. I would love it actually, sitting under a tree on a hill, right? Yeah. Yeah, see, it's open to public, but generally what happens is that you guys, because I'll be talking about papers that you guys will understand. So while it's open to public, maybe 3-4 people will come, but the rest of it I expect you guys to come to those. Because I'll be talking about large language models a lot. Lunchtime. Kavita Hills, yes. Lovely. So you'll see me sitting there enjoying the bay, right? Not if you have the Starlink in your backpack. So it's fun actually. I have no idea. But oh my goodness, once you have Starlink, you feel so free, right? It's such utter freedom. It's okay, reasonable. No, Bay Area latency is bandwidth is here. What they've done is it's oversubscribed. So sometimes it becomes very slow. It's true, but trust me, if you're doing it at 7:30 in the morning, it's pretty good, right? So a lot of the time, like I would be in meetings and people will say, we hear birds in the meetings. Lunchtime. Yeah, because I would like to continue the momentum of paper readings, guys. It's important to keep reading papers, the latest breakthroughs as they come, right? And for those of you who miss, I'll also record it and post it on YouTube on a private channel. In other words, it won't be public. It won't be accessible to everyone, right? Yeah. So guys, Whisper. Now we go to Whisper. You need to do quite a bit of install here. You need softwares like Soundfile and Librosa. But reality is, this is again, today was all very installation heavy. When you do it and you try to run this notebook, you'll notice that it may still not work because your particular machine, especially if it is Windows or Mac, God knows what else it will require. I have no idea. But this is what it is on Ubuntu. So by the way, this IP address that I'm connecting to at the top is the Ubuntu machine in my office. Right? I'm connecting to that. The one that Sukhpal built. It's very punchy. It's really nice. Actually, I'm revisiting my thoughts on yesterday's machine. I want to make it a beefier one. Yeah, we need to put some more in. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's look at this. See, when you do speech to text, it's always been a problem. Try talking to Siri. Yeah. At least with my very thick Indian accent, half the time it doesn't get me right. It says, if I say, let me call my friend Chanda, so it will suddenly start saying somebody else completely. It picks somebody else from the address book. It happens all the time. I think it happens to you, all of you. But try that with Whisper and you'll be absolutely impressed. It beats Apple, Google, everything. Especially with Indian accents, it almost like it's a relief to find something can actually translate Indian accent. Or my accent. My accent is what? Half Indian, half Nepali.
So Whisper does like sound to text, and then text to sound, or just language?
No, speech to text. Yeah, but it also does language translations, as we'll see. So you may, the beautiful thing is that somebody is speaking in French and you can see the text emerge in English. Isn't that nice? No, it doesn't do Fourier. Speech to text, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So what they do is, see, it is there. You have to tokenize it, but then you feed it to the transformer. And so the paper is very beautiful. Actually, I want to cover the Whisper paper, right? Either today, but today I wanted to give in the afternoon to going over the project step by step. If I don't do it, it is possible that I may do it tomorrow afternoon or some point very soon. But we will go through at least a dozen papers in this month, guys. In the month of May, I'll go through a dozen papers and keep the momentum so that when you come to the deep learning course, you're absolutely ready for it, right? Let's cover at least 2, 3. How many, by the way, how many of you are coming to that course? Deep learning, right? Those are the foundational architecture. Actually, the course is renamed Foundational Architectures, but yeah. So very natural bridges, listen to these papers because it will get you mentally ready for that course. That course will be very much focused on the new breakthroughs and the new thinking. So anyway, we'll go through that. Whisper. So that is Whisper. You load some data. We're going to load some data sets. So by the way, use the Whisper large model. It works better. Obviously, don't use Whisper tiny. You guys all have reasonably good laptop. So these are some test audio files. You can take an audio file and you can even play it. I suppose I didn't play this, but you can play this. And a sampling rate. Now, one thing I will tell you about sampling rate. Whisper prefers a sampling rate, as far as I can make out, of 16 kilohertz. So what is sampling? See, sound is a continuous waveform, isn't it? Analog continuous waveform. But you have to digitize it. So the way you do that is you chop, chop, chop. You go in there, say, what is it now? What is it now? What is it now? What is it now? And you keep picking up the values. But how often you sample from a waveform is the sampling rate. Yeah, signal processing. So 16 kilohertz is the preferred thing that I can make out. But generally, when people record on their laptops, etc., it tends to be 8 kilohertz. If you get 8 kilohertz, remember to upscale it, or even lower, but remember to upscale it. It's easy to upscale it. Make it 16 kilohertz. Yeah. So do that. And then here we go. We are going to, so then you get the input. So what does sampling, etc. give you? Ultimately, you'll get features. You need to generate tokens out of it, predicted IDs, generate token IDs. How do you do that? Model.generate is what? It is exactly the same as tokenizer.tokenize, isn't it? Pretty equivalent to it. You generate the token IDs. And then what do? You need to decode. Now you need to give it to the transformer. So if you remember, text processing pipeline in Hugging Face was tokenizer, model, right? Followed by you screen ahead for classification or whatever it is that you want to do at the tail end of it. Those are exactly the same architecture, except that the tokenizer is coming out of the sound forms, the waveforms, right? By sampling into the waveforms, you're tokenizing it. Once you get the token, you feed it into the model. What will it do? Model will do, what have you screwed at the end? For each of the bits of waveform, it has to produce a text. Yet it has to produce into the dictionary. All it is a classifier, right? It's going into the dictionary using a softmax and saying, what word is it? Isn't it? And word by word by word, you are getting a sense of the, you're getting basically a transcription. So if you look at the transcription, guys, make sure you understand it. It's nothing but classification, basically. You're using a softmax into a dictionary, into a vocabulary, right? And the transformer is doing that for you with the softmax head screwed to it. That's it. That's it. That is it. Yeah. But the thing is, obviously, it is not just vanilla transformer. Otherwise,
it wouldn't. So there is more to it. There's more depth to it. The whole Whisper paper will do in particular. So there's more happening to it. But the basic idea remains the same. The basic architecture remains the same. Albert. No, in this case, it's inbuilt. It's inbuilt, yeah. But if you want to hand do it, you can always hand do it. Yeah? You can pick it up and do it. It's always fun. See, with all of these things, there is a lovely website called Paper with Code. Paper with Code. I would strongly advise you to become friends with that website. Whenever you read a research paper, if at all possible, if time permits, well, time is the scarce commodity these days, but if time permits, go to Paper with Code and read the code behind the paper. See how they have done it. Right? It's not that hard. Once you maybe the first 3-4 papers code, like the neural architecture, it will take time. But actually, well let me not get the cat out of the bag, because the foundational architectures, that is literally about, you'll see that I'll make you big friends with Paper with Code. We will be using that site a lot to read the code behind the architectures, yeah, and walk through it. That's what that course is about. So there we go. Now, this is Mr. Quilter is the apostle of the middle classes, and we are glad to welcome his gospel. Humorous statement. This is it. So, and it is not so impressive because you haven't heard the audio, but if you should, I leave that as an exercise for you to hear the audio. But what is more interesting, actually, is the second part. You can listen to French and transcribe it into English. Because if you think about it, if it is just a classifier into a vocabulary, you can train it to classify into any language you want, isn't it? And so you can train it to classify straight into English from French waveforms. Yeah. And that's what it is doing. You absolutely got me. See, what happens is that, as I said, if it was a classifier, the problem would be the words would be jumbled up because you don't say it the same way, right? The moment you talk French. So then there is a translation layer here. So what happens is there is actually a decoder, the auto-regressive part to put it in the right sequence is there. Attention and decoding and all of that is there, right? So more is going on there. Right? And pretty much you got now you know where the complexity of the Whisper comes from. That's that. Of course, all of these machines come built with that. They will create audio waveforms, they'll create MP3s, they'll create whatever you want. That technology is beaten to death. A very, very old technology. I mean, we have been able to do it since 90s. See, one thing, look at this. If you look at the line 10 here, Mozilla Foundation's corpus is there, right? So we are loading the data set all right, but Whisper beats it all at this moment. So guys, this is it. Today, because all of these things are set up, it will take you a little bit to make it work on your machine. How many of you have gotten it to work on your machine completely? Not one of you. So please, it is working. Huh? Okay, good. Tiny one. Okay. All right. So, so guys, now let's talk. What I'll do is I'll give you guys 20 minutes to get your head around it. Last 2 hours, I was going to discuss at least one paper, but let me keep it for the subsequent days. Instead, let's talk through the project architecture carefully, because I really want you to take the project seriously. Do, guys, by doing, you'll learn more. Now, the ball is in your court. Do. Right? So 20 minutes break and then we'll start. In the meanwhile, please make sure you run this lab notebooks completely. Those of you who are remote, would you like to ask a question or have something to ask? Something? Dilip, is it fun so far?
Hey, Asif. Yeah, all good.
It's working on
Hey.
your machine, no?
No, I haven't finished everything.
Okay.
I've gone for lunch. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You missed out some good biryani and saag paneer. Anil is online. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he used to love it. He used to absolutely love it.
Hey, Asif. So this
Mhm.
project, right? Alexa does similar stuff with just a simple query. So this has to be that this is handling a much more complex question, right?
Yeah, in fact, we are in the next generation beyond Alexa. Dilip, if you think about it, when Alexa started out, there was the concept of intent, right? If you look at the Alexa API, you associate actions to intent. Look at the Alexa API. It will say, register your actions against well-defined intent. And how would you, what are the keywords or trigger words for the intent? Right? Like, tell me the weather, Alexa, things like that. Now, and you can literally see when that API was created, the NLP, the state-of-the-art NLP were things like Spacey, right? Doing a very good job. But one of the pursuits in linguistics was, computational linguistics was, the extraction of intent, the parts of speech and intent extraction. And you can see that core foundational ideas, those kinds of ideas there in Alexa. But I think we have entered a new world now with the large language model. So my feeling is that all of these things will go through transformation, big transformations, right? And they must be already going through it. One could imagine that the research labs at Amazon, at Siri, and all of these, Google Assistant, they're all working furiously to adapt to the new realities. But the fact of the matter is things are moving so fast that actually you will be, when you do this project, Dilip, in a very genuine sense, you will have a leg up on all those big guys because it takes them time to evolve.
Yeah.
Go
No,
to
the
production.
example that you gave about computing the median, right? I mean, Alexa can probably spit out something that it already has stored here. We actually will read something, actually do some processing on it, give a result out. I mean, that's just
We can
amazing.
test it. Dilip, let's do that.
Yeah.
If you have a cell phone, ask it, Siri, which is the median of the first 20 prime numbers? And it can tell you. I don't know. I've never tried it. Can somebody please try it? On Siri. See how well it does it. Or maybe it has a database of those prime numbers, so it will quickly look it up and tell you. It is possible. But I would consider it's on a moderately hard problem for it. It will probably Google it up rather than solving it itself. It will say, here is what I found. And then it will say something. So Shushinda is trying it. Is going to search. Yeah, exactly. So Shushinda points out that if you ask Siri that question, it goes about searching on the internet. But think about it, Dilip. Really, in this lab, you already saw beyond that, isn't it?
Yeah.
We created a lang chain that goes way beyond that. So that is it. You guys are ahead of the curve, ahead of this, enterprise grade production systems at this moment. The world is changing really that fast.
Really awesome. Awesome.
Mhm. Okay, let me answer. Abhijit has asked here in the class, very good question. See, when you want to go to production in an enterprise environment, there are many considerations of reliability and engineering. How ready is LangChain to go to production? Here's the answer. People are using it for production now, despite the fact that these people are saying, no, we are 0.161 version. It is proving very bug-free and fairly reliable. It's a rock-solid code. Yeah. It's good code. It's good code. Having said that, the fundamental problem with large language model is the fact that you don't get deterministic answers, you get stochastic answers. So people have to do a lot of prompt engineering to get it right. But are they taking it to production? Very much so. There are a lot of successful startups that are launching products which are gaining traction here. And companies, I mean, not even that, even old, like, I mean, you wouldn't think of Deloitte, for example, as one of the technology forefronts. They are the people who build solutions for others and do a good job of it. But they have invested into sort of almost like a R&D effort, $1 billion, right? People are spending, and when you see what they are doing, they are all doing these tools. Yeah. $1 billion is a lot of company for just one company, a lot of money for one company to throw. But that's what all the other companies are doing also. So you can imagine that there is almost $1 trillion worth of investment going into all of this. That is why things are happening overnight. Like I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh, I have so much to catch up. So much has happened overnight, right? You almost, you go to sleep watching something, and literally I do that. And you wake up in the morning, right? I come back from my hike and there's new things waiting. It's that fast. But can we use it for production? Yes, you can use it. The problem is not that. The problem is the cost of inference. Cost is too high. When you put a GPU cluster of your own, and you see, if you use OpenAI, they'll ruin you. They're very expensive. Open source is catching up. But even then, the one part that people haven't solved is, even if you use open source model, you're still hostage to NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is beginning to charge you 10, 20, 30, 40,000 per chip, right? And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. Yeah. AMD is trying to catch up, but still not able to. I mean, they will catch up maybe in a year, but even then it will be a duopoly between NVIDIA and AMD. Because if you look at AMD, they're just 25% cheaper than whatever NVIDIA chip is, equivalent is. Right? Uh-huh. They did. Wow. Oh, I own a lot of AMD chips. My wife will be very happy to hear that. AMD stocks. I told her that in the long term, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So she has been saying, as if you told me that AMD is a long-term AMD will do well. And so we put in money years ago, and she has been waiting for the day when my prediction would actually come true. So what you're saying is it has come true. Good. Because for years it has been just, flattened out. Good day. Nice. Mhm. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a break. But after that, it's all projects. Okay? Today, I kept it lightweight because, see, I actually took out some of the labs. The idea was that if I give you all the code, then project is nothing but putting it together, which is no fun. Some things you should do on your own. Oh, this one, there are 2, 3 good ones. Unfortunately, they all charge a little bit of money, but they're tiny bits of money. What is it called? This fellow, Praveen. Praveen, are you there? Praveen pointed out, I like that one very much. It's pretty good. 11 labs, exactly. 11 labs. I would encourage you 11 labs. Yeah, labs. 11 labs is pretty good. Text to speech. Yeah. The video one is just go with stability. And there are a few others, but go with stability. Text to speech. Yeah, and you can be very particular. You can say it with a strong Nepali accent or strong Tamil accent. It will do it for you. I mean, of course, you'll have to record your own speech for it to recognize it. But once you give it snippets of your speech, it will do it. Stability. Stability AI is for image generation and for video and so forth. The video, there are many ones. It's hard to tell. Actually, anybody has a recommendation, which is the best one for video generation? Yeah, you can try those. Or try the open source ones, guys. Video open source is good enough. Text to speech, open source ones haven't really done so well. At this moment, it is still the commercial ones, but they're reasonably cheap. Anyone who took my last deep learning course in which we did NLP during the pandemic, I think Abhijit, you took it, right? You didn't take it. Anyway, Albert, you took it. 2020. Oh, Patrick, you and Sukhpal, both of you took it, right? Yeah. Isn't this course completely different? Yeah. All right, guys, I'll stop the recording. Huh? So after that, we'll just discuss the projects after 20 minutes. All right, guys. So now in the last hour, we are going to talk about what I was leading you towards the entire course. The goal of it, of course, this course, which is highly practical, was to create something that is truly next gen. It doesn't mean that we have to make it production grade to take traffic volumes in the millions, but it should certainly be a leapfrog over current technologies. And the beauty of things is that you can actually do it in small groups. So the first thing will be, the first step is, oh, why is this here? I don't know. Give me a second. I seem to have brought some clutter here. Okay. And my screen is visible, isn't it, guys? Okay. So the first step, most important, form your team and give it a name. I would strongly encourage you to do it, right? So whatever the name of your team is, have you guys already talked about and formed your teams so far? So let me ask Albert, you're teaming up with? Yeah, Patrick. Oh, so you're going, so Albert. So for example, Albert is going with Mustaq Qazi. So and Albert, Zahir, Farhan, Qazi, Junaid. Oh, I haven't seen Junaid in a while. Okay. So this is that, and this is team one. What's the name you want to give your team? Oh. Ask ChatGPT, what is a name that's better than Siri? Okay, you have to name your team, guys, quickly. And Patrick, you are with? Patrick, Mosmi, and Shalini. Abdullah, you too. Okay, that give me a name for your team. Give yourself a nice name. How about you, Dhwani? You haven't found anyone at all. Guys, those of you who are remote, anyone wants to partner with Dhwani? You will form with Dhwani. Okay. Dhwani, Avijit, and Avijit and Kashish, would you like to work with Dhwani?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, Kashish. Kashish, is that okay, Dhwani? Kashish. And would you like to pick one more member in your team?
Yeah, sure. Anybody that doesn't have a.
You want to go with that? Huh? Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, you guys are likely to be the first ones to finish your project. I think it's a power team. Okay, so we have 3 teams so far. Let me ask Sukhpal, who are you teaming up with?
Anyone is fine, sir.
Sukhpal is, you are here. Dilip, you have dropped off. Jaishankar, how about you? Sukhpal, Jaishankar, would you like to pull together? How about this? I make Sukhpal. No, 5 is too much. Jaishankar. And Dilip. Oh, the first team has 5 people. It's a bit high. Junaid, Albert, Zahir, Farhan, Qazi. Yeah. How many people do you have total? We have 12, 13, 16 people at least. Yeah, that's the trouble. No, you guys don't want to be with Junaid. He'll start doing everything himself. We'll keep it, but I think he'll end up doing it himself. Yeah, he likes to do. So I'll remove Junaid from that list. And Junaid, actually the same thing is true for Shashinda. He's going to do the whole thing himself. I know. We should kick these people out into separate teams.
Yes, sir.
Individual teams. No, you combine them into one team and they say like the leading geniuses have Kenny, half another. Can we also have half of Dennis also can join us? Let's get Dennis. Dennis. Okay, so Albert. We need some. We'll have Dennis in our team. Okay, I'll put Dennis there. Actually, you can put Junaid. I think it's better. Junaid will be back and forth. No, I put Junaid in a separate team. Let's see how it works. I can put Dennis in our team. Yeah, I put Dennis in your team. Okay, guys. So we have the teams and okay. Now let's move forward, guys. Huh? I need a name for those of you who have formed your team. Please name your team. Dhwani, you get to name your team. You, Abhijit, come up with a name right away. Kashish, Sushinda, 4 of you, quickly come up with a name. Phoenix. Yes. Phoenix. Kazi, come up with the name quickly. Pace setters. Setters. And Advani, Abhijit, Sushil. Sukhpal, Shankar, Dilip, what's your name? Sukhpal, you are still here? Shankar is also gone quiet.
Yeah, yes, sir, I'm here.
Give a name. What would you like to name it, Sukhpal?
You name it, sir. Doesn't matter.
I name it.
Dilip kahan hai, sir? Dilip is not online?
No, I don't see. He just dropped, it seems. Okay, I'll give you some time to think, Sukhpal. Dhwani, what's the name? T2B. Okay, so I'll remove from page setters to T2B. Oh, okay. Oh, you are with Patrick. So from Phoenix, you want to rename it to T2B? Okay. T2B. All right. And Dhwani, Abhijit, Shushinder, Kashish, any good names, guys? I hope all four of you are discussing. Sukhpal, how about I call your team Mission Peak?
Sure. Sure, sir, no problem.
And so only unnamed team so far is Junaid's and Abhijit's. Dhwani's team. Dhwani, Kashish. SUDOS. For whom? Junaid, Sudos. Okay. And okay, so all right, guys. So while you are still thinking of a name, let me now give the interface. The main interface, guys, will be just this. Imagine an interface that is as simple as this. You can make the interface. The interface is conversational. It is conversational. The only thing you should be able to see is a button to press for the microphone. Right? A button to press. It should have the following abilities. Ability. Search, Wikipedia, articles, search, archive, papers, search, Gutenberg, search Gutenberg documents, Gutenberg books, right? Books. And you can pick, if you want to limit it, you can limit to only 100 books if you want. Right? But there's no reason to limit it because I'm giving you a lot of compute resources. Right? And search, Shashinda, for you, it must search your repository. Right? Poetry. Then you should search the web. Right? Weather. It must be able to do the weather. A database of medical notes. This is a contribution that Sukhpal will make for everyone. Yes, Sukhpal, so you have to contribute this. You're ready? Medical notes, open source one.
Sure.
Right? Patrick and Sukhpal, you're responsible for contributing this. Right? As a MySQL dump or something like that. So the thing is, you should be able to find the answer from this. Something
Postgres dump, sir.
Postgres. Right? And the instructions to people on how to do that. So guys, do you notice that we are developing a lot of tooling ability, should have the ability to do math. Right? It should have the ability to do math and right. It should be like, see, it should have all of these abilities. Are we together? And you and 3 more of your choice. So now each team gets to add 3 more abilities of their choice. Are we together? Right? You have to be able to do that. And I will release some test instructions, some test prompts for which it should be able to produce an answer. So I will release only 10, but there will be 20 other prompts which I won't show you. And the whole question is whether you are able to, whether your machine is able to do those 20 prompts, right? Which you won't see. Yes. There's, what's that? Any hint? No. Yeah. Guys, do this properly because then it will also, amongst other things, right? It will baseline you on how well you can make prompts. So when you learn about prompt engineering, you will have a context. You'll have a context to think about it. So it must have these abilities. Then the output. Lots of abilities are there. Look into tools. Look into Hugging Face tools. The tools section, the line chain tools. Line chain tools. And search YouTube. One more thing I forgot. Search YouTube. Right. So now this is interesting. If I say, find me a good a YouTube discussion, you should be able to find the YouTube video and get its transcript and find an answer in the transcript. Right? Do you see that this is not an easy thing? So that is why I'm saying, guys, this is a collaborative project. One person cannot do it. First, find the right YouTube videos, then search their transcripts. Answers, output. The output. The output must contain the following: an essay as answer in the format TLDR, summary, right? Then at least 4 paragraphs of text with, right, optionally with section headings, right? At least 4 paragraphs of text. B, unique image to go with it. C, unique generated image. C, image found in Unsplash that is appropriate. It must have an image from Unsplash that is appropriate to this. And D, a speech rendering of the essay. And finally, E, optional, but easy, do it, guys. A video of the entire response. A video generated. So guys, I'll give you a benchmark. How would you feel if I told you that if you really were, once you master it, the second time you do something like this, you would actually finish the entire project in 20 hours. It's not that hard. But because you're doing it for the first time, it will take you 2 weeks as a team. Yeah. But see, the whole idea is that once you do it, right, it becomes yours now. Next time, it becomes very easy, right? And when you look at this, if you had not taken this course and I had given you this product specification, would you even believe that you could do it? No. But now I hope you at least feel that as a team, you can do it in 2 weeks, isn't it? That is the thing, guys. It's really worth doing. Put your energy into it. And remember, my doors are open. Any day you can walk in with partial results or ask questions and come back, and I'll be there to help you. Right? I'm going to codify this into a document and post it on Slack properly. So any questions, guys? Let us think through how much time it will take to do each of the piece. The UI, okay, the final thing is UI can be done in, you can do the UI. So here is what I'll give you, UI, right? Done in either of this, any of these. You can do the UI in A, Streamlit, B, Grad, IO, right? If you so wish, you feel like doing it in Dash or something like that, etc., whatever you want for plotting. And fourth, you can do is literally React, JS, or Angular if you so wish, right? E, right? Yeah. Now, you know that Google has released a very simple UI making framework. What is that called? What is that Google's thing? See, even, and Mac has come up with, Apple has come up with a very simplified way of making UI. What's that called? Yeah, Flutter is one. And the second thing is,
Sir, Microsoft has one too, right? Power something.
Microsoft one, I don't know. I would love to hear about it. I don't know. But I know that Flutter is one and Apple has something. See, Apple's new UI is called what? What is the UI making framework? Swift.
But that's more of an iOS app.
That is it. So you have a choice to do all that. You can make it for a mobile, right? And see, guys, this would be really good if you make it into a mobile. It will be launched from here. Server will be here, right, as a microservices. But imagine the sheer beauty of it, that you are seeing it, your app in the App Store, Android and yeah. But so Swift has a much simpler version to make UI. I think it's called Swift UI. Swift UI is a framework that's even better than Swift, faster than Swift, right? What is it called? Okay, I'll remember something. Makes it very fast. You can just literally in an hour create any iOS specific app quickly, right? So this is it, guys. Right? So you can do that. And G, those of you who are insisting on cloud specific technology, if you do it in Firebase, that too is fine. A Firebase would be GCP. Right. Yeah. So now it's become the whole framework, database plus UI building framework. So use any one of these guys. Huh? Use any one of these, right? Google. It's very good. You can create entire end-to-end applications with it. It is. You remember Kunal? Kunal's entire startup is done in Firebase.
I know the database.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, do that. And your microservice, like when you do the microservice, those of you who are not using the Streamlit directly just to do it, you should do your microservice using fast API, or you can use Flask if that's what you're more familiar with. Or if you want to do some of this in Java, you can use Quarkus or Spring Boot. Come again? Murulin. Monolith. Oh, goodness. So guys, you have a pretty wide degree of flexibility. I'll guide you through each of these. These are things I'm more or less familiar with. The Swift UI, maybe not so much, but I'll try to. And yeah, so there you go. Right. One of these abilities that I hope one of you guys team pick is graph, creating a knowledge graph out of the things that you encounter, right? Because that's a very powerful navigational construct for knowledge. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can do that. So guys, do this and then tell me if there is anything you're not ready for after this. Does this sound like a fun project, guys? Yes. Get started, and yeah. It shouldn't be that I'm the only one who's finishing the project. There is a prize for winning, is good. There is actually a prize for winning. Yeah? And it's a good prize, but you'll find it once the winning team gets a prize. Right. So, well, that is it, guys. Any questions? Any questions from anyone? I think there's still one team that has to name itself, and that team is Dhwani's team. Did you guys find it? Shishenda, Dhwani, Abhijit, Kashish, did you find a name? Yeah, I'm trying to reach a Kashish. Do you have any name in mind?
I don't. I was hoping one of them did, but
Think of something.
mm,
Maybe you guys can outdo Alexa with Alexandria.
I'm
Want to
good
go
with
with that?
that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll call your team Alexandria. Good, guys. So I'm going to send out notes of this project right away. I'll use the next hour to write up good notes and post it on the scope of the project, right? And let's really interact, guys. 2 weeks. Let's really go at it and make progress and do show and tells and post screenshots of what you're building and have fun. That is it, guys. That's it. What's that? I can't. You have to be louder. Are we reading a paper? Not anymore. There's no time left.
Stuck here because the SQL, I have set it up. So the database created everything created here, right?
And the password? Did you try the password?
Yeah.
Exit it and you log in with that password to verify it. Did you do flush privileges?
Yes.
So now what you do is, no, get out, quit. Now do MySQL minus u. Give the name of that user. Whatever user you're using to connect, you're going to use root to connect. Okay. Minus p. Oh, good. You are one of the few people who's using Ubuntu. So that worked. Right? So now go here and see what's the username password you have in your Jupyter notebook.
Same.
No, show me.
So root user and same password p add da, 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 da.
And so when you run this, what happens?
It's saying that it's not able to connect.
No, localhost, because you have given 127. You have to replace that word at localhost.
I did with localhost also, but for localhost it was not working. So
Right, localhost. Did you create the database food code?
yes.
And open up a client. Just go back to your shell. Say use. Now just to select count star from employee.
So it's there. Yeah. So the schema of the thing is
pip install. So I think I'm pretty sure that a Pi MySQL is not installed. You exit out of it. You do a pip install Pi MySQL.
Oh, Pi MySQL.
Almost surely you didn't install it.
I believe I installed it through here.
You did? Already satisfied.
Yeah, I installed this because the LangChain was missing also.
Yeah, let's look at the message that it is given. This must be something minor. We'll fill through. Don't worry about it. Setup is always a headache. Yeah. So let's look at the. Come again? Take pages from the printer. I can't connect to MySQL server. Server on password. Yeah, this is a problem. Name or service not found. So there's a type. Okay. In the syntax, we have something minor going wrong. Let's go and see what's wrong. This is easy to fix.
It's shopping, I think.
Create. Let me see. F MySQL username at localhost at food mount. This is exactly the way I'd given it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Root, and you're using root, and this password is the right password.
That's the password I used to log in.
Are you sure you're still using this password? Let's do one thing. Let's not use root. Where are you? Give me the shell. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Into that. Big one possible. Oopsies. All right, guys, the course is today it's over. I'm going to give you the write-up on this. So if you guys want to drop off, those of you who are remote, feel free to drop off, or if you want to stay, I will be here for another hour. Yeah. What we'll do is wait. Just give it a minute. On. You're logged in as root. How come you don't have a privilege? Okay. Let's try. Root is always a little tricky, huh? Okay. Let's try that. Is equal to username, localhost. 1033 or 6 port. Oh, no, port is not required. That is not required, but might as well add it. Who knows? No. I will type. Oh, it's a different error now. It's a different error. Yeah, validation. Field oh, you forgot to give the LLM type. Create, but and toolkit, SQL database toolkit. Oh, this is okay. Database DB. So let's do this. Let's make sure that we reach this far at least. DB. How do I split it? Edit, split, split cell. Okay, let's run this only. LangChain database. Okay. SQL toolkit. DB is equal to DB. No.
Do I have to install something on the SQL? Because I think I don't know if SQL database toolkit. What should I install for that?
Nothing. This should have worked.
Because LangChain was missing. So
Validation. One validation error for database toolkit. LLM field required. Okay. Let us do that. This should not have been true, but oh, sorry. What did I do? How do I decrease the font size of this? Control minus. Control. How do I zoom out of it? Yeah, good. Let's first do this. I don't know why it's behaving like this with you, but let's do that. AI. Just leave it as that. Oh, that is your real problem. You didn't install the OpenAI key. Where is your remember I asked you to install your OpenAI key? What it is go to your OpenAI account, OpenAI key. API.
Continuous Google.
This is your key. Do you remember where you saved this key?
I don't remember. I think.
Oh, that's your problem.
But we can create a new one, right? On
Yeah. Key. Let us just call it support vectors. So you remember that here, this is for the lab. Copy, and right away we'll go and put it in. Oh, you don't have to. Okay. We'll get there. We're pretty close. And that was the only reason, because your Open API is not yet set up for
Okay.
minor things.
And I think before that it was a root user.
Hmm.
I should not be using root user.
Generally, it's something or the other. See, one of the first things is on your machine, probably security is still enabled. Developer machine, there's never should be security. Just disable all security. That's the first thing I do. Because see here, the way I enforce security is, I have a very strong physical hardware firewall at the fiber. So nothing can ever come in. Then inside, everything is completely unsecure. Because it's dev. It's not a production environment here. And so we go. Nice. And so Kate. This one do it. Export, open, AI. Is equal to done. Let's go to your notebook. Where is it? This one. Kernel. Everything is going through smoothly now. So far.
Yeah, with that I think I need to remove the SQL toolkit because that's not a
Oh, could not find version that SQL toolkit for version.
Because I think probably this is not the actual pip install. I just assumed, okay, let me just put these two and then.
Oh, there is no such thing. Yeah,
Yeah, there is no such thing. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, it's part of the lang chain. Yeah.
So
So whenever you do something like this, no, it is always a good idea to put upgrade. Where am I? Done. Yeah. So now you go here. Mm. Oops, sorry. Now, did not find, please. Yeah, okay. What you have to do is stop this and open a new shell from which you start this.
got it.
That is it. It's just because if I do this, no, one easy way to know that this is still a problem is to say pip export like percentage exclamation echo dollar when AI. Yeah. If I do this, nothing should come out here. Yeah, you notice that it's empty. It means that you just have to restart. Just restart and come back. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. But make sure that before you leave, no, all your issues are solved.
Yes. No,
Otherwise, yeah.
Yes.
How do you like the project?
Project is gonna be good, definitely. I think that we're gonna give a hands-on courses to think through and build our own Jupyter notebooks and connect them together.
Environment is always the struggle. But you are in a good place because you start with the money.
Yeah, because I got PM you want to install on it because in earlier you requested some Google's LLMs, right, which was not available on anybody also.
Windows machine.
Windows was the only one. Sorry, Ubuntu was the only one. Just set it up.
The only Windows machine that I have is this laptop for teaching. Everything else is Linux in my house. At home, I don't have a single Windows machine. It's been what? 1994. 2004, 14. Yeah, it's been 29 years. I don't think I've used ever.
Yeah, I moved to Mac.
So like, you said like the videos, was it just like a guy talking or was it like generating polls?
Generate as good as you can. It's your creativity, what you can generate.
You need like a bunch of GPUs for that.
Make it happen.
Okay. It could happen.
Hmm?
It could happen.
You mean that?
Like your polls.
So, yeah, it should.
Let's get in the same. Restarted the AI, like the whole that as well.
Could
Even
not import OpenAI Python package. Oh, that is easy. You didn't have the OpenAI itself installed. That is easy. First of all, let's do this. Make sure that the key is there. Okay. Yeah. It is verified that we do have the key. The environment is properly set up. Perfect. So we know that this
Okay.
is true. Now what happens is we just install, getting started. Okay, right here. And open the file. Sorry, I'm not wearing my reading glass, so I'm having to guess what I'm typing. Okay, this should solve your problem. That is it. Now, this time everything is working. Just thinking. Oh, you haven't paid them. You need to go pay them.
Oh, is it?
You have to give them a credit card. It's very small amount. Like the whole day you'll use like 10 cents or something. So go get a paid account. Let's do it right now. We want to make sure that this works.
Okay.
Now, enter your credit card number. We go into the billing section of OpenAI, and finish this. Which one?
get past.
Portable password inputs. No, I have seen it, but I haven't used it.
Because I think it would help when people are working on the same notebook. So you don't say when somebody else is opening API.
Get pass. Actually, why don't you put a link to this? I have seen this in people use it, but I never used it.
Because if you want to share your notebook.
Yeah.
it will help to make it-
So everybody will get their own password. Yeah, everybody will use their own. Yeah, actual. Hello, this is Asif here. Hello. Hello, I can't hear you.
You can also just create a Google Colors within the dashboard.
Yeah, so how do I have set it up the lesson, I have set it up the password.
Billing
Yeah, the link.
done.
Yeah.
Let's just go back and run it. That's all. It takes a couple of minutes for it to propagate, but yeah, run this cell again. Just run this again.
This one.
Yeah.
You exited your current quota.
Yeah. It takes a few minutes to happen. So go and instantiate the OpenAPI again. Wherever I instantiate, yeah, this cell number 11. Run it again. Yeah, now run the next one. And keep going. with this one. Oh, you know what? Once you have changed the billing, you have to get a new key. Go generate a new key and put it there. Change your gate file. It's one of the nuisances of that. Actually, it hit me for the longest time. I was wondering why is it not working, and then I realized I had to create a new key. So yeah. Ignore that. So what you have to do is just create a new key.
Yeah, I'll create a new game. Just use copy the name key. Delete this key.
Yeah, copy that and go to your Kate, the Kate file that you have. You go here. Yeah, just say open animation. Just say Kate and tilde / bash rc. And at the very end, you actually change the key. That's it. Save it, source it, and you're done. And you'll have to unfortunately do that whole name thing. You know, restarting your account.
So
Now from this shell, start the Jupyter variable. Now you're in business. One by one, I think you have sorted through all these. And let us hope that by the time the deep learning course starts, we don't have to pay licensing fee to this people.
yeah.
Now keep running. I think you'll sail through your way smoothly. And is it the new key value that comes out?
No, it's not the new key.
Mm-mm.
The key is not the new one.
It's still the old one. SK something.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? Just do echo. AI underscore open AI underscore API underscore key. This is the new one.
Yeah, this is the one.
So
Let me just close the terminal.
just yeah, if in doubt, just reboot your laptop.
Yeah, I'll just remove this.
You should run the Jupyter Lab right from here. You don't have to open that Anaconda thing. Just say Jupyter Lab, Jupyter, and hit tab, Jupyter, Jupy, Jupyter, and hit tab. Hit tab. Yeah, you know that. Jupyter Lab. Pick one of the answers here. That's it. Is it that you are? Is it much easier?
Yeah.
Wait for it to come.
The new one.
You're in action. Everything is working. Let it think, it's still thinking. Yeah, exactly. 1157. Everything is.
That's why you can use for open source.
Why it's saying that? It's from the non-directed.
Because it's not agent executed, it's just agent.run.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
I'll also fix it.
Fix it. Really made a mistake everywhere.
No, I'll fix it. No,
But you see that it's all working now.
yes.
Isn't it magical? After all these years of SQL, you see a new way of doing things.
New way of doing things. Yes, exactly. Right. Wow.
You're trying to do design. How do you like, so, like where you have this search, Wikipedia articles, etc., right? So we were thinking we, convert voice to text, right? And then we send it to like Chat GPT. But then how do you say, okay, like search these?
Thank you.
LangChain. These are all tools. Each of these is a tool. There's a
LangChain.
Wikipedia tool in there. There is an archive tool. There is a Gutenberg loader. There is all of these things are there as tools.
And then would we use something like a GPT-4 for anything?
That is just your model, the LLM.
LLM.
is that.
So you basically like search here.
Yeah. And you find out which of these are tools and which of them you'll make LLM.
LLM's tools.
That's it.
And connect via
Like the agent, the LangChain agent.
You
The
know,
agent that you have created, like the one
Yes,
you're showing
exactly,
right now as well, right?
exactly.
which is
It's that easy.
So yeah, I was able to work the whole thing,
SQL?
the whole SQL plus even the.
See, this entire thing, na,
Hmm.
each of these,
Hmm.
frankly, if you know what you're doing, these are 2 minutes each.
Is it?
Able to set up the whole. The lab, OpenAI lab. So the one which was connected to SQL, right? But locally it was now everything was working.
That's good.
So I know there is a problem then
Locally chal raha hai.
locally it's all working now. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a question. So
Are you happy you took this course?
I'm very happy actually. I'm also happy like in the sense that I told you I forgot like coding. Now this actually forces me to like get back and I think it's critical for next like 15 years. Otherwise,
Yeah, it's a new world.
it's a new world.
And in fact, all in a way, right, all those old coding languages
Will disappear.
will gradually disappear.
So what I'm a bit confused about is the terminology. So we say LLMs, and then there is this thing called like foundational models.
No, they're just, we can use them interchangeably.
Interchangeably.
There's a small distinction, like the pre-trained models. See, the bird architecture is a foundation.
Right.
When you pre-train it with some data, it becomes a pre-trained model, a checkpoint. And that checkpoint you fine-tune. So that's a sequence of thinking. That's all it is. So when you take the deep learning courses, you will learn a lot of foundation models. They will all be transformers. So people,
So they use it like
depends upon,
And then-
more or less. There's subtle distinctions, but more or less they interchange.
And then when we say LLM, so for example, I saw one diagram, it says like you take text, video, images, etc. comes in the model, and then you can do text, video.
See, think about it this way. What is a transformer? That's why I took your attention is on you. What's the input to a transformer? Ultimately, it is an embedding vector. Tokens
That's
become
embedding.
vector. They go in
Yeah.
and along with position vector, they get concatenated and they go on. So now what can become? Everything can become. A text can become, numbers can become, a video can become, audio can become. Therefore, everything can go in and everything likewise can come out. So when you think it like that, and that's why I gave you one reason I took you through the paper, is that then you're not impressed by this, somebody making a graphic or something.
Yeah,
It's obvious. It's obvious.
But then, so like for GPT-4, like for any model, so you can.
It's just a transformer. It's just a giant size. It's nothing but a transformer which has been made bigger. That is all. There's nothing magical. In fact, they'll beat it now.
And
That's what's
llama and
needed.
everything.
Yeah. So llama is the distillate. Remember, I taught you the distillation process, distillate. So think the llama was literally a distillate of GPT.
Because they like trained it on the GPT.
That is so student teacher model. And the same thing, if you look at the paper Lamini that I wanted to do today, creates a farm of distillates.
We talked about it last week actually.
Last week.
When you were not there, we had like a brief discussion on that.
Lamini is a lovely work because what it does is it uses what is called the ensemble, small things, and it uses them as a cohort, as a swarm. Yeah. And it's just lovely, the idea. It takes the idea of distillate even further, create very simple models and swarm it. Yeah. Very much like you would do random forest or gradient boosting. Are you also there in the ML100 course or you're not? You're not.
No, because I have like too much meetings. It's very hard. Like by the time
10 o'clock finishes,
10 o'clock, I'm like done.
You
I'll
do
come
all
to
this.
the next one.
Do all this. Yeah, next time I offer, come. Actually, I'm offering in May. I'm starting, this May 20th, I'm starting another sequence of ML100. I may be starting. which is timed from 3 to 6. That may be more conducive to you.
That might be more conducive.
I'm making it East Coast friendly. So then it will be conducive.
You know, one thing I was thinking, we talked about for you to advertise. I think it's like thinking of few things actually. So one is, you know, the name itself. I know you put in support vectors, right?
Come up with a catchy name. I know it's too geeky.
Yeah,
Come up with a more catchy.
Something more related to AI or something. I think that would catch attention.
That would catch attention.
And then the second one I was thinking was like having a very nicer website. Because see, what happens is like, let's say, for example, all of us can, you know, I do LinkedIn post or everyone can do LinkedIn post, right? When people come,
Acha impression. Yeah, I'm willing to do I'm doing it. Tabhi, so I'm sitting with Sukhpal to create a new web server machine and completely start from scratch and do it from scratch. So we'll have two sites, one purely corporate and one just for the teaching. So one for blogs and so forth. So multiple scattered it out and pick more catchy names. Yeah. So maybe Llama is taken. No. Maybe Malala is the next name to pick.
like which AI ke upar hai.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because AI will be like a longer term.
Yeah. Initially, I thought I'll take Aisha. Right? But then I thought that Pegambar sahab may not be very happy.
No,
That I'll be upset. He'll be upset, yeah.
Which AI ka, or wo website should be like nice, ekdam.
Yes, yeah. I need to get it done. I need to do it.
Like in my work, because we created this thing called Apollo, like which was basically a for multimodal database. So images and EHR, everything. I had like this company, it's a UK based company. They did the graphics for me, like the whole web page and everything.
Okay, how much did I charge? तो बहुत महंगा होगा ना?
नहीं, pretty reasonable.
How much?
I can find out. तो पूरा क्योंकि.
Sure, but help me with one thing. Mohammed, you remember who works in Thermo Fisher? Get me back in touch with him. He said he can get me something corporate training and consulting in Thermo Fisher.
नहीं तो एक बार ये कर लो. See what happens is like कोई भी लोग website पे जाएंगे ना, then they get an impression.
It has to be.
Corporate has like a very professional impression, right?
Right. अभी अपना website looks too academic.
नहीं.
It's too academic. Right?
I can get you in touch with these guys that take my website. They are very nice people. Okay. मैं तो मतलब उनको अभी तो घंटे like they अभी कुछ ऐसा slide होता है मैं उनको दे देता हूँ, then they come back.
Oh, they polish up your slides also. Do they charge?
क्योंकि हमारा तो पूरा contract है ना. It's much like it's different.
Okay.
But they're pretty like I feel they were reasonable compared to like a lot of people.
This is important here. Now support vectors is my livelihood. Help me get there.
तो फिर क्या करेंगे कि then when we do like LinkedIn post etc हम लोग सब कर सकते हैं. So when people come to your site then it's like attractive.
It's attractive. No, I need to do that. I'm desperate to do that. I'm willing to spend. अभी जो भी tuition से पैसा आ रहा है ना, I'm willing to put it there. See, my old idea was
वेबसाइट है दूसरा क्या कर सकते हैं कि जैसे हम लोगों ने किया था वहां पर तो यू डू लाइक वीकली और बाई वीकली इंटरव्यूज और डिस्कशंस.
I want to do that. So somebody wants to एक आदमी है, he wants to post a small one question and my answer to an interview every week. फिर यहाँ पे एक रेडियो शो है, कोई रेडियो जिंदगी करके.
हाँ यहाँ विमान बुला पे.
So they also want to start interviewing me. ऐसा. But उनका तो कोई reach नहीं है because they are on AM.
नहीं, but what you should do is कि आपकी वेबसाइट होना चाहिए.
Oh, interview should be on my website.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
जैसे वो करता है ये, I see very different thing. वो hedge fund manager है डबल लाइन का, जेफरी गनलॉक. वो जाता है.
I am totally not into money. हमारे पैगंबर साहब ने कहा था कि सूद का पैसा नहीं खाओ.
नहीं
कभी भी हमने the only thing I invest in is land and index funds.
अच्छा.
तो because थोड़ा सा मन में रह गया कि मना किया है सूद का.
नहीं उसका वो नहीं है. But what he does कि जैसे CM पे भी जाएगा, he has a deal with them कि तुम लोग वो लोग हमेशा पोस्ट नहीं करते, but he will then get that video उसकी साइट पे पोस्ट करेगा.
Oh, okay.
YouTube में पोस्ट करेगा, उसकी साइट पे पोस्ट करेगा with double line logo, right?
Nice.
तो जैसे let's say कि you went to this talk
Yeah.
right? You should say, okay, I need the rights, so I can post it on my website.
हाँ, वो तो दे देंगे
है ना, वो
because
दे देंगे।
टाई के जो लोग ऑर्गेनाइजर्स है ना,
हाँ,
they
तो फिर
actually-
क्या
they
होगा?
have been my students here. वो लोग
हाँ,
यहीं पे आ
तो
चुके
वो
हैं।
क्या होगा कि then you have like a place in your area, वो website पे जहाँ पर वो you have like all your interns.
Oh, that
See,
is
then
so
people
nice.
get impressed, ना?
That is right.
वो बोलेंगे कि देखो ये so your
पर यार
website
मेरी शक्ल को देख के कौन इंटरव्यू देखना चाहेगा?
doesn't matter. लेकिन वो देखो you'll have interviews, then you'll have papers that you have written, right? Maybe we can write papers here, right? जैसे आपके
See,
interns
my
हैं वगैरह।
papers are actually very well received inside the company, but I have to start writing public papers.
हाँ, so then you have papers here, right? You have this.
Yeah.
Then when people come,
It will be an impression of solidity. Yeah. See, this month I'm going to focus on that. Maybe. What has happened is, see, I just started 2 months ago, right? 3 months ago. 3 months ago. So I've been running as fast as I can. It's less than 100 days since support vectors to come. And as a one-man operation, it's pretty much a one-man. But it's okay. I don't mind that because one good thing that I feel fortunate is that maybe because I exercise and walk, I am high energy. I easily do every day. I put in 16, 17 hours. I don't know if it comes across that I'm high energy. Yeah, yeah. So I can go on. Nice, Kazi. Help me out. Because businessman, I am absolute zero. That's the big problem. I have no business sense. Now I have to develop that.
so like वो जैसे वो अभी see if you are targeting younger students, वो मतलब हमजा यूसुफ जो है, you know him, right? तो हमजा यूसुफ वो पहले जैतूना चला देते थे हेवर्ड में, छोटी सी जगह पे हेवर्ड में जैतूना चलती थी, तो हमारे जैसे लोग आते थे वहाँ।
हमसे यूसुफ आए थे हमसे मिलने
तब अभी
काफी उनकी एज हो गई अब तो नहीं।
हाँ
हाँ, तो वो आए थे ही, उन्होंने हमसे पूछा कि am I willing to do something for people? I said I would love to, पर उसके बाद वो कभी दिखे नहीं, भूल गए हमको।
हाँ, तो वो हम जो पहले उनका क्या था, हेवर में एक वो छोटी सी जगह थी मस्जिद टाइप, और हमारे जैसे लोग जाके वहाँ पढ़ते थे।
Sir, recording is still on.
रियलाइज के जो
Thanks for pointing out.
No problem, sir.
तो उसमें वो कह रहा था